connecting there. You know, one of the questions, man, I just love to ask when I'm behind the scenes, especially someone from my alma mater, right? I've got to ask the question. It's one of my favorite. I even asked my mentor this question, really, seriously. And it's becoming one of our staple questions because people love to hear this. And we'll get started in a moment, but I've got to know, what book are you reading now? Or what's the latest book you read? And what's one of the lessons that you learned from the book that you can share with the audience? You know what I mean? Like, I read so many books. I do Audible books. I've got a book over here. I've only got past chapter 1 because I keep reading the affirmation over and over again. I refuse to live talented and broke. I know people are like, Shay, when are you going to finish that book? If it was an Audible, I would. But it's not about me. It's about you, Brian. So what book are you reading now? What lesson are you learning? And what can you share with the audience?
Yeah, Shay, no, I appreciate that, man. And one of the books I'm reading, first of all, I love Audible too, man. That is one of my absolute go-to. Try to turn my car into a university. But right now, the thing I'm really focused on, I keep it here by my bedside, and it is this book right here, The Digital Transformation by Thomas Siebel. And here's the thing. I mean, we've all heard of companies. I mean, we're up late night talking about business, entrepreneurship, and, you know, creating legacies. But we all know $1 million companies that have gone under. If I start naming names, Blockbuster, Borders, Toys R Us, iconic brands that at one point were deemed untouchable and now aren't really even around anymore. So one of the things that is always of interest to me is to make sure that we stay on the cutting edge of competence when it comes to not just business, but the things that are impacting the environment of the business that we operate in. And one of those things is technology. And so for me, this book is really talking about the convergence of 4 independent technologies, and that is big data. It's talking about cloud computing. It's talking about artificial intelligence, and is also talking about the Internet of Things. And so really the book is kind of giving a overall really comprehensive preview of how these 4 individual technologies are coming together to create this digital revolution. And you might say, well, what does that have to do with business? And my answer is everything, because at the end of the day, every single industry is eventually going to be disrupted by one of those 4 technologies. I mean, we're seeing it right now with the trucking industry. It's being disrupted by Uber. You know, self-driving cars are here, but, you know, large-scale deployment are a few years away. And so all of these different things are coming together. And so as an entrepreneur, you want to be thinking, what's next in my industry? And so instead of wondering what happened, it's putting yourself in a position to figure out how you can take advantage and really put yourself in a position to win with these technologies. So this is what I'm super excited about, man. I nerd out and geek out about this stuff, Shay. Technology is important. It's here. It's not going anywhere. And you could either be on the front end of it or on the back end of it trying to figure out, you know, what happened.
I love that, man. Technology being on the front or the back end. That's so important. I love to hear people are reading, man, because it expands my mind. And, you know, we have to just have a segment on that alone. Look, I got to get started to give me the cue in a moment, but I'm just curious. I want you to repeat later, but just because we're behind the scenes now, and I want to get the 411, can you take maybe 2 or 3 minutes and kind of say, you know, how did Brian get from where he is now to being the founder of Black Speakers Network, over 5,000 plus members across this globe, and making a difference in the world? I mean, I need the Cliff Note version, but I'm just curious, man. I know I can't do you justice in 2 or 3 moments, but just give me the skinny while we behind the scenes.
Yeah, I can give you a 3-minute version really easy, Say. For me, if you have been sitting in a small classroom at our alma mater, Morgan State University, in 2006, you would have watched as I nervously walked to the front of the room to prepare to give my very first speech in Toastmasters. And if you had been sitting in that classroom, Shay, if you were like on the first or second row, you would have noticed a couple things. You would have noticed my sweaty palms. You would have heard my shaking voice. At one point, I literally almost walked out of the room because I was pacing so bad back and forth. And eventually, you know, I wrapped up that presentation in Toastmasters, which is an organization that helps you become a better public speaker. But, you know, the one thing that I realized after that presentation is that, you know, if I could deliver 1 speech, I could deliver 2. And then 2 turned into 4, 4 turned into 10. I eventually started hosting my own professional development and workshops here in Baltimore, and eventually went into corporate America. I got started as a training professional, started in finance, moved into training and development, went into diversity and inclusion, and eventually started Black Speakers Network because realizing, coming from a place like Morgan State University and being one of those kids that was literally, I'm still an introvert to this day. I was that guy that couldn't lead two people in silent prayer, let alone stand in front of a group or do something like this. I was that guy that was so nervous and afraid, but realized that your voice has power. And so literally to this day, our mission at Black Speakers Network is to equip, connect, and inspire the next generation of Black professional speakers, because I recognize that everyone has a voice. It doesn't mean that everybody is necessarily going to be a professional speaker, Trevor, but one thing I realized at Morgan State University is that given the opportunity, the awareness that we, number one, speaking is an industry, it's a mechanism and an opportunity to change not only your own personal economy, but also to use your voice to uplift the lives and business of other people. That's a powerful thing. And so I looked around, I really didn't see any organizations that were dedicated to serving speakers of color, specifically Black speakers. And so that was the genesis of how we got started.
Man, I love that. I know that's the Cliff Note version. Now give me the cue. We got to get started. Shout out to Morgan State. If you're watching right now, as we get started, you're going to learn how to put your message together, how to market your message, how to monetize your message, at the end of the day, how to have more impact with your message, and how to change the world. We're here with none other than the one and only Brian J. Oles, but we got to get going. To give me the signal, let's get this thing party kicked off in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's rock and roll.
Please go ahead and give a big standing ovation for the one and the only Shay Brown.
Every morning in Africa, a gazelle wakes up and it knows it must outrun the fastest lion or be killed and eaten. Also every morning in Africa, a lion wakes up and knows it must outrun the slowest gazelle or it will starve to death. You've heard it before. It doesn't matter whether you're a lion or a gazelle. When the sun comes up, you better be what? You better be running. That's right. That's right. You better be running. Life is about meaning, and meaning is about service. Isn't that the reason why we're all here? Isn't that what we're all searching for? 2013, the Peak Performance Institute was created. 5,000 clients who we've helped turn their idea into a reality, their reality into a business, their business into a movement, impacting 5.7 million lives around the world. Imagine that! My name is Shay Brown, the Happy Entrepreneur, and welcome to the Happy Entrepreneur Network, the world's largest organization for the well-being of an entrepreneur. And as we always say, our mission at the Happy Entrepreneur Network, our mission is to inspire, empower, and provide resources for the entrepreneur to live a balanced life and execute their vision for the people they were called to serve. And our mantra, I love our belief. Everyone should have a belief statement. Our belief is the results that show up in your life are just as important as the results that show up in your bank account. With that being said, let's get started. Well, it's a great day. My name is Shay Brown, the Happy Entrepreneur, and welcome to the Happy Entrepreneur Show, the #1 business development and revenue focused late night show in the country. And I'm super excited. I'm over the moon happy, and I can't wait because #1, I get to speak to a Morgan State graduate. That's right. I'm alumni at Morgan State. We should have wore our Morgan State t-shirts tonight, my man. We really should have. I should go put mine on right now, but that's okay. That's okay. That's a topic for another time. But I'm also speaking to Brian J. Oles, who is the founder of Black Speakers Network. You're in for a treat. So for Marcella Moore, who's out there, we want to welcome you. Loretta Birch, welcome you. Brandy Hunt, thanks so much for joining. Rhonda Moore, it is always a pleasure. Tina Wolf, thanks a lot for being on here. For all of you who are joining on right now, Lisa, I see you. Bradley, Cheryl, Diane, thanks a lot for joining. Sakoni Prince, my man that's in the house. What's going on? You got Sita from out of Florida. She's in the house. Beatrice said, don't leave me out, Shay. I'm here. I see you. Look, for everyone who's joining, for everyone who's tuning in, you even got G. Alfred Palmer. Like, you're bringing out the all-stars. You're waking up the folks, Brian. And isn't that what it's all about? It's about, at the end of the day, how do you have your mission match your message that allows you to market it, then allows you to monetize it, and then allow you to manage what you make. And we're going to get into the 5 M's, but if you can, take a moment, Brian, and just talk about the importance of using your voice to promote your business, promote your nonprofit, promote your mission, promote your values, or whatever you need to promote. It takes a voice. talk about the importance of that, and then we're going to get into how you got started.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, first of all, good evening, everyone. And what's interesting is that we all have a voice. And so we recently wrote a book called Speak Up. And the goal is to speak up and make sure that your audience is connected to you. But before your audience is connected to you, you have to have something to say. And so for us, it's very important to make sure that I want everyone to know, and this doesn't matter if you're a speaker or not, just remove the word speaker from your mind right now. If you're an entrepreneur, if you're a business owner, you have an audience that you're called to serve. And I want to emphasize that, because it doesn't matter if you're a doctor, if you're a lawyer, if you're an architect, you are absolutely serving an audience. And so your voice is a powerful mechanism. And as we start looking at things like language, our ability to sway influence, to create a visual image. Right now, even as I'm speaking, there's an image forming in your mind when I say certain words. And so that's very, very powerful, Shay. And one of the things that we want to make sure that speakers and entrepreneurs realize is that your voice has power. And it's so powerful that it doesn't matter. There are going to be some people in this world that resonate with me. There are going to be some people that resonate with Shay. There are going to be some people that resonate with Les Brown. But no matter how good that person is, there are some people that only you can reach. And I authentically believe that. And that's why your voice is so powerful.
You know, I love what you just said, by the way. We want to give a shout out to none other than the folks that are joining. Brandy Hunt's out there. Mark Downs is in the house. Kevin Impeccable Peck, another Morgan State graduate, by the way. He graduated before you did, by the way, and before I did. So he like old school. You and I, we like new school. But he's a Morgan State alumni. Also the persons out there making sure the Afro News, one of our sponsors, by the way. One of the reasons y'all can be listening to this and paying attention, because we have someone like the sponsor, like the Afro News, that are doing what they're doing, the African American newspaper. So thanks a lot, Kevin Peck, for all that you're doing. Y'all gonna hear some amazing things from them. Look, if you are a speaker or an author or a coach or a network marketer, Brian, can they highlight what they do right now? Is it okay if you're a speaker or an author, if you're a coach? Here's what I'd like for you to do. Look right below the video right now. Look right below the video, and I want you to put these words: I am a speaker, or I am a coach, or I am an author, or I'm just into personal professional development. I want you to do that. I want you to look right below the video. Now, if you are a speaker, I want you to put, I am a speaker and I teach people how to blank, or I speak on blank. Now, I'm going to ask Brian to help you frame it, because some of you, as I'm saying that, you might be a little nervous, like, well, I'm a business owner, but how would I frame that? So I'm going to toss it to Brian in just a moment. Like he said, I can ask him any question. I'm going to say, Brian, they're going to write right below, I help people ... or I help businesses ... So I want you to say, I'm a speaker, or I'm a coach, or I'm an author. If you don't want to put that down there, that's fine. Just look right below the video right now, and I want you to put, I help people ... or I help businesses what ... Now, after you do that, Brian's given permission for you to use your website. You can put that right below. If you have an Instagram account, put that right below. If you have a Facebook page, put that right below right now. This is your opportunity. Now, Brian, they might be saying, oh my gosh, they're putting me on the spot, Shay. Like, I don't know how to say I help people ... or I help businesses ... Well, that's what we got, Brian. That's what Brian and his organization does. So it's only fair that we ask him to kind of help frame the conversation and help you overcome the fear and saying, maybe I'm gonna type the wrong thing down. Brian, do me a favor. As they're doing that, I'm gonna ask. We're gonna recognize the owner that you are. So someone like Sakoni Prince, but I'm a speaker who speaks on personal development. But what I ask you to put as well is I help people ... Brian, I'm gonna turn over to you, man. This is what you do. Help them out.
And here's the thing, and I love this exercise because, one of the things Eric Thomas always says is, like, if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready, and you don't ever know when that opportunity is going to be there. And so whenever you have a platform, whether it's like this, something as simple as dropping a message into a chat, or whether it's speaking on a podcast or even being on this show, you always have to speak as if your top customer is listening. So when you're writing that, make sure that you're writing it from the perspective of, if the person that can book me to speak right now is going to read this, will they be compelled to reach out? That's number one. Number two is this separating me from the other X amount of speakers that are in my category. Here's the reality. Regardless of what you're speaking on, somebody else is going to be speaking on that topic. And so just saying that you're an expert in professional development or, personal finance, if you're a leadership, that's fine. But that's a very different thing than I help college seniors transition into corporate America successfully with a 90% completion rate within their first year out of college. Like things like that piques people's attention and makes them know, number one, that you are absolutely an expert at what you do, and you're focused on the results and not just who you are, but what you can do for the audience that you're called to serve.
I like that. Focus on the results. For those folks that are doing it, this is great. Brian's right there. He's there now. Michelle Pillar's in the house. What's up, Michelle Pillar? What's up, Cheryl Wallace? What's up, Mimi? She says she's in the house. Dee Bowden said your voice has power. Indeed. Cheryl Diana's in the house. Thanks for joining. We appreciate that. Gerald Moore says, I'm an author, educator, and speaker. Now, Gerald, we want you to put how you help people, right? We're going to ask you how you help people. That's pretty cool. Dr. Christy Jenkins, thanks for joining. Dee Bowden said, I am an author and I help businesses recover old and owed invoices for services already provided but not yet paid. That's pretty clear. Are you feeling it, Brian? You feeling it?
Yeah.
Okay, Brian shaking her hand. Pam Barty is in the house. What's up, Pam? Cheryl Diane is in the house. Leslie Nicole said, I'm an artist. I help artists showcase their art from their interior going on the outside. Now, what I'm asking everybody to do is say, I help people ... Brandy Hunt put, I help people become clear on their goals and overcoming their obstacle. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. For those folks that are tuning in, you're listening to Brian Oles. Brian Oles is going to be talking about the 5 M's, how to have the right mission, how to have the right message, how to market that message, how to monetize that message, and how to manage the money that you bring in. And how important is that? Super over the top, unequivocally, very, very important. Brian, take a moment and talk about why do folks have a fear, not so much of speaking, but actually starting their business and asking for money to be paid to be a speaker, or stepping up and talking like right now? Like, what's the fear that holds them back, and what can they do to break through to that fear? Leslie said, wait a minute, I am a global curator. We appreciate that. Great job. I also want you to put, I help people ... and I help businesses ... We want to know how you serve people, how you make a difference in the world, because you want to make your message famous and you want to be paid. Brian's going to help you with that. Brian, for the person that's fearful, why are they fearful, number one? And number two, how do we get them to overcome that and share their message with the world?
Yeah, so I think number one, to your first point, which is, hey, why are we fearful? And I think nobody, wants to hear that their baby is ugly. Like we all, you always hear this thing of, public speaking is the, number one fear followed by death, and that's fine. But, the reality is we don't really have a fear of speaking per se. What we all have a fear is being judged. Nobody wants to feel like we are less than. And so for speakers or aspiring speakers, I think the reality is to start getting crystal clear on what makes you unique, and also start getting crystal clear on the value that you bring to the table. And what I mean by that is that, whatever your speaking topic is, and you may not know exactly what that is now, but there's something that and there's something that you can do that's more valuable in the marketplace than you're probably being paid for right now. And the reality is that, once you start to figure that out, then your confidence goes up. And you mentioned something else, Shay, which is, speaking to the world. I don't even recommend worrying about trying to speak to the world right now. What you need are quick and simple wins. You need to be speaking to your neighborhood. You need to be speaking to your community. You need to be speaking to your Facebook followers. I don't care if it's 10 or 10,000. These are the opportunities to get in front of people and start validating the assumptions. Shay, earlier you asked me to talk about the book I'm currently reading, but the book I just finished reading is called The Lean Startup. And one of the most valuable things about that book is that it helps you get out of your own way by creating what they call a minimum viable offer. You have a message, and it's the same thing with a presentation. You have something that people want. You may just not recognize it's an undervalued resource right now in your mind. And so the only way to increase your confidence about the value of that resource is for you to go out and pressure test it, i.e., do what you talk about, Shay. Go find a customer, go find somebody that needs what you have. And as you start helping people overcome their problem and you start getting those testimonials, you start seeing the results, then your confidence goes up and you're able to speak to the world. And so I think the most important thing is starting where you are, getting those quick wins, but getting clarity on what makes you unique and then doing more of that so that you could start to expand your message from there.
Wow, that was so powerful. Look, we're speaking with none other than Brian J. Oles. He's the founder of Black Speakers Network. The promise of this episode, the promise is that you're going to learn how to have the right mission, how to have the right message so you can get paid, how to really market that message, how to monetize that message. And if that's you and you want to know how to manage it, you hold on. You hang in there. For Dolores Stram, who's on here, welcome for joining. For Leroy McKenzie, he says, that's my man talking right now. That's not me. He's saying that's you, by the way. What's up with that? What's up with that? What's up with that? Sean J. Harris is in the house. Thanks a lot. Your man Gerald Moore came back and said, I motivate and empower young black males to get into high school tech and STEM programs. Way to go, way to go, way to go. That's clear. And that's what I'm talking about. I hear you loud and clear. What's up, Tanya? She's in the house. Okay, when we come back, I'm going to ask him, okay, how do you really create that message? Like, how do you create it? What's the step-by-step approach? What's the secret formula that he's used in order for him to do that? We're going to go over now to Dr. Kenneth Thigpen, who's going to talk about get in the right position. And that's what Brian's going to help you do. For all those folks that are hitting right now, for all those folks that are joining, do me a favor as we go to the segment. Do me a favor. Look right below the video. And let's give Brian a warm, happy entrepreneur's hug. Let's give him a warm welcome to the stage. How do you do that, Shay? How do you do it? How do I say thank you? Thank you. Look right below the video and say, you know what, Brian? You look good. Say, Brian, you're doing a great job. Say, Brian, thanks for showing up tonight. Say, Brian, I'm sitting in the front row. Say, Brian, I'm ready to monetize my message. Brian, I'm ready to connect my message to the people I'm called to serve. Just look right below the video. And say, hey, Brian, welcome to the Happy Entrepreneur Show. Do that for me right now, and we're going to give him a warm welcome. We'll be back in just a moment with Brian J. Oles. You're watching the Happy Entrepreneur Show, the #1 business development and revenue focused late night show in the country. We'll be back in just a moment. Take it away, Doctor.
Hello, it's your girl, Dr. Kenneth Thigpen, also known as Dr. K, founder of Rise Women's Network. And Rise Women's Network is pleased to present to you #NextSisterUp. I'm with you in the Happy Entrepreneurs Tribe, and today is my January 1st. Here's your thought of the week. Get in position. Are you in position? Maybe you watched a sport, maybe you've played a sport, or maybe you know something a little bit about sports. Either way, in sports, you must get in position. Whether it's a team sport, an individual sport, football, baseball, cheerleading, dance, tennis, or golf, you get in position based upon a plan that's been put in place. From that plan, you want to make progress with the ultimate goal of scoring and winning. It's the same thing in life and in business. You want to position yourself based upon your vision. You want to set goals for yourself, make strides towards that with the ultimate goal of making an impact for those that you are intended to serve. Keep these 3 things in mind when you're getting in position. 1, position your mind. How do you see yourself? How you see yourself is how other people will see you. What you think about yourself is how you will do everything in life. 2nd, position your actions. Are your actions in alignment with your missions, your values, and your beliefs? Are you getting the results that you want based upon the actions that you are taking? And lastly, position yourself to learn. If you're living, you should be learning. Every great teacher is also a great student. And so I challenge you, every day that you come home, think about what's one thing that I learned today. So, are you in position? My name's Dr. K. Make it a great day.
Make it a great day. We're right back. That was Dr. K. Someone look right below the video. Look right below the video and just put get in position. Get in position to monetize your message. Get in position to market your message. Get in position to manage your message. And get in position to what? Make a difference. And as my good friend Delator McNeil would say, and $1 at the same time. If you're ready to make a difference and $1 at the same time, you're at the right place, at the right moment, at the right time. I want to welcome everybody out there that says, I'm ready. Dr. Christy Jenkins says, I'm ready. She's ready. Sean J. Harris says, hey, Shay and Brian, I'm ready. Tanya says, I'm ready. She's out there right now. Diane says, get in position. Mimi said, Mr. Brian, you're doing an awesome job already. We're getting started. And look, Brian, if we can I slow down and then we're going to speed up. You're going to create this message for them. You got to do it. You got to do it. You promised it, and I know you will. But there's a segment that we like to do. And for all of my new viewers, welcome, welcome, welcome. And for all the folks who show up, we're going to do one of my favorite segments. It's called the Champions Creed. Now, Brian, here's how the Champions Creed works. The Champions Creed is when we all pause and we don't talk about ourselves. We don't talk about how glorious we are. We don't talk about our celebrity clients, but we acknowledge another entrepreneur. We acknowledge another speaker. We uplift another business owner, another thought leader, and we let them know that they need to keep on going. We let them know that they may fail, but they need to keep on moving forward, that they may fall down, but they got to bounce back up. That's the message. So this was given to me. What's up, Nicole Brown? I see you, Hurston. This message was given to me. It's called the Champions Creed. I'm going to read it for you new folks, and then I'm going to ask Brian if he'll read it as well, because, you know, Brian, you got to do something, man. This is what it's all about. This is not about us. And for every single one of you who are watching right now, I want you to look right below the video. Look right below the video, and I want you to write these words for another entrepreneur. Write these words. You are a champion. Hashtag keep on going. I want you to take your fingers right now, look right below the video. Don't worry about Shay Brown. Don't do it for Brian, because it's not about Brian. It's not for Shay Brown. This is for someone else. So you're going to bless someone else. You're going to pay it forward to someone else. You're going to make a difference in someone's life. And I want you to imagine for a moment what you would feel like if someone had sent you a note saying, you are a champion. Hashtag keep on going. So let me read the Champions Creed. I've been saying it for 15 years for my mentor, and it's made a difference for me. You look right below the video and put you are a champion. Hashtag keep on going. Bless someone else. The Happy Entrepreneurs Champions Creed. I am not judged by the number of times I fail, but by the number of times I succeed. And the number of times I succeed is in direct proportion to the number of times I can fail and keep trying, and keep trying, and keep trying. So how do you play a part of this? How do you step up? Well, Brian, first I'm going to ask you if you'll read it. So let me see if you'll read it. Brian, will you read the Champions Creed?
I will read it.
Okay, I'll put it up in a minute. Okay, he's going to read the Champions Creed. How do I want you to help? How do I want you to uplift another one? Well, I tell you what, I asked Brian to do something else. He's a speaker. He can handle this. Brian, when you finish reading the Champions Creed, they're going to understand how famous you are with the Black Speakers Network. They're going to understand what you've done in school. They're going to understand the lives you impact, the 5,000 people that are in your membership. They're going to learn all that, and they see all that online. Do you mind sharing a time that maybe there was a setback in your life or in your business, and it didn't go the way you wanted, and you had to bounce back? Do you mind doing that, and maybe sharing a principle that you held on to? Can you do that?
Yep.
All right, Brian said he's all in. All right, you look below the video like Tanya and put you are a champion. Just like CW Charisma put you are a champion. Hashtag keep on going. Like Nicole, you are a champion. Stan Long, what's up? I see you, my man. All right, let me go ahead and put up the Champions Creed. All right, Brian, take it away.
Yeah, here we go. So I am not judged by the number of times I fail, but by the number of times I succeed. And the number of times I succeed is in direct proportion to the number of times I can fail and keep trying and keep trying and keep trying.
I like that. He's from Morgan State University, baby, the remix version. And keep trying and keep trying and keep trying. Rana, I see you. She said, you are a champion. Hashtag keep on going. All right. Brian, talk to us, man, about time that it was setback for you. What lesson did you learn, and what was the principle that pulled you through?
Yeah, so this is actually something that started before my entrepreneurship journey. So what most people may not realize about me is that even though I graduated from Morgan with a degree in business, I actually started as an engineer. I went into Morgan as with the goal of being an electrical engineer. And Shay, I don't know if you remember the NASA space shuttle launches back in the day, but I was a little kid that used to sit by the television and watch those space shuttle launches. And I said to myself, one day, I want to be a part of that team. Like I want to be the person that helps put those ships into the air. And so I began this journey through school to become an engineer. I ended up going to a trade school, and in college, I started trying to take engineering classes. And, sometimes, they say success leaves clues, and, sometimes failure leaves clues as well. And so a few for me were having an opportunity. You could always find me in my room in middle school and high school, taking apart radios and televisions. My challenge was, I couldn't quite put them back together, but I was good at taking them apart. Same thing with math. Math was a continuous struggle for me. And so when I got to Morgan State University, I remember clearly to this day, I don't know if anybody has had the pleasure of going through high level math, calculus 2 differential equations. I was sitting in the classroom and I was taking a test, Shay, and 30 minutes had gone by in this calculus 2 class. I had nothing written on a paper. And so I look out the window for inspiration. I'm like, okay, God, if you could just give me the answer to this test, I promise you I'll do what I need to do and, become a great engineer. And then the clouds parted. And then literally it was like I saw the answer to the test out the window. It was written on the side of a building. But it wasn't the answer to the actual test. The side of the building was the Earl G. Graves School of Business and Management. So I put the test down, went outside, dropped out of engineering school, went into business school. And I even struggled then because I failed accounting twice. And, a lot of people don't know that. And so, it was a moment for me of critical self-reflection of feeling like, wow, I was on this journey this entire time and everything in life is trying to point me in this new direction. And even when I started taking that new direction, it didn't work out. And, eventually, one of the things that, helped me as I started, getting into Toastmasters, I started developing my own path is that just because you started on one path and it didn't necessarily work out, doesn't mean that there's not value in those experiences. And it doesn't mean that some of those things won't come back and help you along the way. I mentioned the digital transformation earlier. Like I still have a strong interest in technology. I just wasn't meant to be an engineer. I was meant to go this other path to be in business and to eventually now be an entrepreneur. And so that's a critical lesson that it taught me. And so now while today I don't build systems and computers, I build people. And so my objective, going back to when I was a little kid sitting on the floor watching a space shuttle launch, wasn't necessarily to be an engineer. It was to be a part of something big. It was to make an impact and be a part of a great team, which is what we created today. And so, struggled through that experience, but now on the other side, I can see the value of going through all of those things.
First of all, man, thank you for being authentic. Thank you for sharing that message. I didn't know that. Thank you for letting us know that, it's not always easy, but we have to keep on trying. We have to keep on trying. We have to keep on trying that we can make it happen because we're all champions. The folks out there might be wondering if you made it all by yourself, if you just pulled yourself up and you did what you did. And I know we're going to get into how to create a message, and that's the promise of this episode. So we're going to do that as soon as we come back. But I'm just curious, take a minute or two and tell us about maybe one of the mentors that's been along this journey with you, a lesson that you learned that the audience can take away, because sometimes we don't get a chance to do that. And so I want to make sure that those folks that are listening can glean from your mentor and use it in their lives as well.
Well, I think one of the earliest people is actually a guy that's younger than me, but he actually went to Morgan State University as well. He's an entrepreneur up here in Baltimore. He lives in Florida now. His name is Jonathan Pasley, and Jonathan is the owner of a company called PDR Web Solutions. And I watched him start this company literally from a one-bedroom apartment to now, multi-employee, 6-7 figure firm. But, basically at the time, he would be my person that I would, everybody has that person in life where they would like pressure test ideas off of. And Jonathan's a very practical person, straight shooter, kind of reminds me of Trevor, like doesn't pull punches, but the interesting thing is that I was having a conversation with him one day and I said, hey, Jonathan, I really, we would have these conversations all the time. Like I invite him to my place and we have conversations, or we stay up late after Toastmasters and just, I would tell them about these different ideas, but I would never execute on any of them. And then one day, I was like, man, I really, think I want to, start holding my own events and workshops. And he's like, Brian, let me stop you right there. He's like, this is probably like the 9th or 10th like idea that you've had. You talk about it, and a couple months later you have something new. You talk about you want to be a computer programmer, and then you want to be like, he's like, I understand what you're saying, but the problem that you have is that you have all these ideas, but you never pull the trigger. You never execute. And so, what's it going to be? Like, are you going to do this, or are you going to keep talking? And so I was like, man, he's right. And it made me a little mad at the time, but he was right. Like I just would talk, and never execute because I was waiting for perfection instead of moving forward and making progress. And so my big thing was, I got started. That's actually when I started my very first, I don't know if you remember Blog Talk Radio back in the day.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was one of the, I don't know if I was a pioneer, but I jumped on, started my Blog Talk Radio show back in the day. It was Skills Radio, the #1 show to help young professionals learn and grow. Jonathan ended up being my first guest. Wow. And I hosted my own personal, professional development events, and that predated Black Speakers Network, but that was the push. It was like, start where you are with what you have. And so Jonathan, to this day, I still give him so much credit for what I've accomplished, because he was one of those early people that pushed me out of my comfort zone to get into the things that really was just holding me back. And that was, my own self just being in doubt.
Wow. Well, you're all listening to none other than Brian J. Olds. He broke it down, shared his ideas from his mentor. I want to recognize Niava Hare, who's on here, and my good man, one of the most brilliant minds on the planet, Orrin Checkmate Hudson. If you don't know Orrin Checkmate Hudson, you've got to meet him. Have you met Orrin before?
No, I haven't.
Oh, my gosh. He's out of Atlanta. The guy is a bad mamma jam. He's chess champion. You'll love him, by the way. Lawrence Hood, what's up, is in the house. When we come back, everybody, do me a favor. Hit the heart button right now. Hit the like button. When we come back, Brian's going to break down his formula for how to create your message. As soon as we come back, I'm going to ask him that question. Where do you start, man? How do you create a message? How do you find these stories? Because he talked about mission, and then he talked about your message. And so I want to know what that's about. We'll find out as soon as we come back. We're going to go over it right now to none other, all the way down to Austin, Texas. And we're going to go to my man, none other than the man himself, Anthony Abram. He's going to talk about understand what you were designed to be. And then when you come back, Brian is going to show you how to say that. I want to say hello and welcome. Stephen Bell is in the house. Malika Courtney, it's always a pleasure. My good friend Loretta is here in the house. For those folks that are joining, do me a favor, look right below the video and just tell us, what state are you in? Where are you watching from? We'll be back in just a moment. Take it away, Anthony.
I need you to listen, like, now, please. Now, my dad's about to do something absolutely amazing. I need you to hit that like button and share this to all your friends. Please?
This is Anthony Abram, and I am excited to be back with you guys one more again at the Happy Entrepreneur Show. Today is my January 1st. Now look, last week we talked about number 1, but now we're going to talk about number 2 and how to maximize your potential. The second step in maximizing your potential is this, is you got to understand what you were designed to do. Again, you got to understand what you were designed to do. Now, I remember this story. I remember back some years ago when I bought my son a drum set. All right. And I bought this drum set and I set up before Christmas trying to put it together, but I was going to be the big man, right? I didn't need the instructions. I was going to put it together. I must have set up all night trying to put that drum set together. And, I had this piece here and that piece there. And ultimately, somebody had to come knock me on my head and say, boy, read these instructions and make it work. It's like, now I understand. This piece fits into here. The same thing happens with you guys. Once you begin to understand what you were designed for, and you ask your source what you were designed for, it makes it a lot easier for you to fit in and better understand where you fit into this world, how you were designed to be great, and how to show up at your best life. Okay? So listen, again, remember what you were designed for. Okay? Before I get out of here, hey, come back in next week for step number 3. Hey, listen, again, this is Anthony Abram. Thanks for tuning in to Happy Entrepreneur Show. As always, I leave you with this. Sow good seeds, do good work, reap, then teach to repeat. Until next week. Peace.
None other than my man, good friend Anthony Abram, and he's all the way in Austin, Texas. We have on here Malika, who's in Chicagoland. Yes, that's actually home for her. Nicole Brown says she's in the house. Rona said, I'm in Maryland, by the way. Stephen Bell said, I'm watching from Clearwater, Florida. And you have none other than Amanda from Florida. Amanda, what part of Florida are you in, by the way? Everyone do me a favor. Everyone do me a favor. If you know that this is your time to deliver your message, if you know that this is your year, if you're ready to own the day and own your life, look right below the video. Look right below the video. And all of my speakers, and this is how Brian to know you're a speaker, all of my speakers, all of my authors, all of my coaches, all of my thought leaders, look right below the video. Look right below the video and just write these words. It's my time. It's my time to up-level my message. It's my time to do a remix on my message. It's my time to have a brand new message. It's my time for the world to hear my message so I can make a difference. Do me a favor, look right below the video, and just write, it's my time. And we're going to ask Brian that question that almost every speaker that comes knocking at the door of what Black Speakers Network has to ask, which is, how do I know I have the right message? Number one. Number two, what's the structure of a message? There's so many different ways, but what's the structure of a message? And then number three, why is the message so important? I mean, it's the duh question. I know it's important, hello, but you ask most folks what their topic is or what their message is or their mission is, they really don't have an answer. No, seriously, they don't. So Brian's going to help you with that, by the way. Let me recognize Cheryl Diane said, it's my time. Mimi said, it's my time. What's up, Chippy Bass? Thanks for joining. Said, it's my time. Amanda, it's my time. Amanda Harris, yes. Stephen Bell, it's my time. Now, when someone writes below, it's my time, I want you to hit the heart button. Even if you ain't do nothing else, hit the like button for them and say, yes, I encourage you, because they're putting this their time. They're believing it's their time to get their message out. So just encourage them. That's all I'm going to ask. Hey, look, it has nothing to do with me, but I want you to help and support. We're a tribe. We work together. No one person is better than the other person at all. Ramona said, it's my time. Malika said, it's my time. Lisa M. Jones says, it's my time. What's up, Elena Kibler's in the house? Hit the heart button. Hit the like button. Hit the share button. Now, Brian, you're about to break down this thing, which I know you normally teach. Can they hit the share button? Can they pay this message with their people? I know, you get paid for this, but can they do that?
Go ahead. Go for it.
All right. So hit the share button right now. Hit the share button. And when you hit that button that says share, write these words. It's my time. It's my time. And that's the message to someone else. Not so much as your time, but it's their time as well. All right, Brian, I got to turn it over to you because Chip Davis says, hi, Brian Oles. I love your growth. Speak to you soon. Speak to us.
That's
you got
right.
your fans. What about Shay Brown? Can someone say hi to Shay Brown? What's up, Dr. Sheikah Green? She says she's in the house watching right now. All right, Brian, over to you, man. Talk about the message, how to create the message, and the importance of the message. Over to you, my man.
Yeah, so I think what's really important, and another one of my favorite books is The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And so if you flip open that book to chapter 2, I think that's a great place to start as you start to think about your message. And chapter 2 of that book is titled Begin with the End in Mind. And Shay, you said something very important earlier, which is, sometimes speakers struggle to, when you ask them about their topic, or even earlier when you put a call out for people to write a message about what they speak about. The challenge became, you start talking to speakers will generally state what they speak about, but they don't speak in terms of the results. And so that's why I really want people to start to think about, picture in your mind, you walk off to the stage, your presentation is over. The curtains are down, people are going back to their cars, they're driving home, they're back with their family. What is the transformation that is happening in that life of that person? And don't get too philosophical with it, because it's a presentation, not a spiritual movie, but like what do you actually want to change in that person's life? So if you're speaking for 45 minutes, it's probably not revolutionary, and so here are three things to start thinking about before you begin any presentation that you have. Begin with the end in mind by thinking about three different areas. And if you've taken any speech course in high school or college, you probably heard that the goal of any speech is to do one of three things. You want to inform, you want to inspire, or you want to persuade. And so let's look at inform really quickly. When you're thinking about inform, you're asking yourself the question, whip out a piece of paper and say, okay, what is it that I want my audience to know? These are facts, figures, information, statistics. What are the things that are absolutely critical that I want to include in this presentation that are factual, that is going to help my audience? The second thing is, what do I want my audience to do? So that's persuade. And so, and that could be, what do you want your audience to do? What action you want them to take, or what action do you want them to stop doing as a result of your presentation? And then the third thing is, what inspire. So the question for inspire is, how do I want my audience to feel? And embedded in that question is, how are they feeling right now? If you're going into a corporation and you're speaking to a group of employees, maybe they had layoffs the year before, what's the environment like? Are people scared? Are they frustrated? Is it a mandatory meeting? There are certain things that you just want to have broad awareness of, and so that you can help curtail that message to meet the needs of the audience. So I think that's the biggest thing, Shay, is beginning with the end in mind. And now once you have that, hopefully everybody that's a speaker is eventually going to develop a signature message. This is a core keynote presentation, typically between 30 and 60 minutes, that you'll be able to deliver over and over and over again, Shay. And this is why we start with the mission, because hopefully nobody's in this for the short term. Hopefully everybody is speaking about something that they're passionate about, they're knowledgeable about, and there's a strong market demand for, because you're going to be talking about it a lot. And so it shouldn't be something that you are just, kind of interested in right now. Even if you know it really well, that passion piece should be there, because you're going to get tired of talking about it 12, 24, 32 months later. And so, that signature message is going to have a couple components. Once you've identified what that goal is that you want your audience to leave out with, then of course you want to have an opening. You want to have a way of capturing your audience's attention in the very first sentence. A lot of speakers waste their time, these critical moments when, if you think about like a plane taking off, it's those first critical moments that make all the difference. And so what are you doing to draw your audience in? Hopefully you're starting with a story, or you're engaging them. I love the way we started this show, because we could have started talking about the weather. We could have started talking about Shay's pizza shirt, which I absolutely love. We could have talked about any number of things, but we jumped right into it. That is brilliant. And Shay is demonstrating how to do this for your presentation. You don't want to start with all these, different things that distract your audience. You want to get them in the palm of your hands right away. You want to give them a roadmap. You want to help them understand exactly where you're going. If I was like, hey, come to my house right now, want to go on a trip with you, man, can't wait to, get out, spend some time with you, man. The number one question you're going to have is, okay, that's cool. I love to go. Where are we going? How long is it going to take? Should I pack, winter boots, or should I pack, sandals? Are we going to the beach, or are we going to the mountains? Like, your audience, anytime you're delivering a presentation, you're essentially inviting your audience to go on a journey with you. If you're inviting somebody to go on a journey with you, then you want to let them know where you're going. And in this presentation, that could be something as simple as, hey, over the next 30 minutes, I'm looking forward to sharing with you my 3-step approach to how to make your company a better culture for everyone, not just, one department or something like that. And so you're giving people a roadmap. And so creating a solid opening, giving them a roadmap, going into your key points, and then finally, you're going to have to close the same way that you open. adult learning. Part of my past life was instructional design, and one of the principles that we learned is primacy and recency. People remember most what they heard first and what they heard last. And so your opening and your conclusion of your presentation are two of the most important elements as it relates to that, what we said earlier, beginning with the end in mind. What is your audience going to remember most? What do you want them to actually do? And so those are the things that you want to keep in mind as you're crafting a message. Make sure that you have clarity on what you want your audience to know. What do you want them to do? How do you want them to feel? Start with a very meaningful way. Don't waste time. Have an opening that captures their attention in the very first sentence. Make sure they know where they're going. Have your key points, and close just as strong as you open.
You know, Brian, I love how you laid that out there. You gave us the ABCs of creating a message, and I'm gonna ask you to up-level it for a moment. And it wasn't part of probably your M's, but I want you to talk about how to really tell their story in their message in a short amount of time. That's very, very important. I do want to recognize Tareya Avant, who's watching. What's up, Tareya? She's a rock star, has an event coming up. Depending on when you're watching this, you've got to make sure you connect with her. You got Sean Harper. He's out there watching right now, and another double rock star. CW, a Morgan State alumni. Shout out to Morgan State Bears, baby. That's my school. That's my alma mater, and his alma mater as well tonight. So they're getting a lot of shout outs. Deborah's in the house. Deborah Crimes, thanks for joining. Look, when we come back, he's talking about creating your message, right? You want to get paid. He's going to talk about marketing of it, but I want him to squeeze in the time we have, and you want to hear this. You want to hear this, the story. Like, if he had 3 to 5 minutes to break down the elements of the story that's going to help you, because we may call one of you tonight and say, hey, would you like to tell your story? And you might only have 2 to 3 minutes. And wouldn't that be cool? Do me a favor. If you're a speaker right now, look right below the video. If you're an author, look right below the video. If you're a speaker, say, I speak on blank subject. Just tell us the subject you speak on. Brian has over 5,000 members in Black Speakers Network. So you look right below the video and tell us what subject do you speak on. If you're an author, say, I'm an author and my book is X. Brian said you can promote what you speak on. He said you can promote your book. If you got a webinar, you got to speak on, promote your webinar. If you got an event coming up, he says you can promote your event. Brian is saying this is your time. And with that, he's going to come back and talk about how to tell your story in your message and then how to market that message. Is that what I'm hearing, Brian?
That's right. Let's do it.
All right, we're going to do that. Shout out to my good friend, Harry Thomas. It's always a pleasure, brother. Always a pleasure. All right, we'll be right back. We're going over to Saucony Prince. He's down there in Mobile, Alabama. He's going to talk about being flexible and what you need to do. And you got to be flexible right now as we talk about your story. We'll be right back. You're with Brian J. Oles. He's the founder of Black Speakers Network. And my name is Shay Brown, the host of the Happy Entrepreneur Show, the #1 business development and revenue-focused late-night show in the country because of you and you who share this message, who pay this message forward. Thank you. We appreciate you. We'll be right back in just a moment.
Hello, everybody. How you doing today? This is Saucony Prince of SauconyPrince.com, where we make motivation personal by introducing you to yourself. And I'm in the Happy Entrepreneurs Tribe, giving you your thought of the week. And your thought of the week is going to be a philosophy that I use. We're dealing with most situations. It's a 3-part philosophy. Number 1, you got to be flexible. Number 2, you have to make adjustments. And number 3, you have to have fun. Now, look, when I say be flexible, I mean you have to realize that everything is not going to go 100% the way you thought in the first place. So you're going to have to actually be flexible enough to make whatever changes are needed in order to get the job done. But then that brings you to the next point, which is make adjustments. That means that there are going to be times where you're going to have to tweak and turn stuff and just to get it exactly the way it needs to be. You're going to have to make adjustments, not only be flexible, but you're going to have to be a part of that process. How do we make it better? How do we get it done? How do we fix this? But then thirdly, you need to have fun. And why having fun? Because having fun, it allows you to keep that excitement and that enthusiasm. And once that excitement and enthusiasm is gone, it really becomes work. So look, whatever you're doing, whatever you're going after, make sure that you be flexible, make sure that you make adjustments, and make sure that you're having fun. Because that's going to make it just that more effective, and the outcome is going to be that much better. Hey, look, this is Saucony Prince of SauconyPrince.com, where we make motivation personal by introducing you to yourself. And I'm in the Happy Entrepreneurs Tribe giving you your thought of the week. And why? Because you guys rock. And look, I want to thank Shay for this opportunity. And I say back over to you, Shay.
Saucony Prince, it is always a pleasure. Be flexible. Be flexible. For those folks out there that are joining us for the very first time, welcome to the Happy Entrepreneur Show. Folks are saying what they speak on. Mimi put, I speak on surviving abuse from trauma. Thanks a lot. Lisa M. Jones said, I speak on personal and professional prosperity. Minister Jacqueline Richardson said, I am an author. If you're an author, put the name of your book. If you are a speaker, put what you speak on. If you're a coach, what do you coach on? If you're a thought leader, what are you a leader on? If you lead an organization, put that down. This is a time for somebody else to connect with you, because someone right now has the goal, the mission of connecting with someone just like you who can help them solve a problem. And that's what the Happy Entrepreneur Tribe is about. It's not about Brian J. Oles. It's not about Shay Brown. It's about every single one of you who get up every day and you want to make a difference in the world. You want $1. You want to make a difference and $1, and that's cool. You want to make impact and income. That's cool. You want to have more meaning and more money, and Brian's going to teach you, and that's cool. But we want to welcome you. Stephen Bell said, I speak on excellence. Shayna Johnson, what's up? Terrell, I see you. Dwight Pledger said, I teach 3-dimensional storytelling. We're going to learn about storytelling in just a moment. Chippy Bass says, love you, Shay. Love you, Chippy. Thanks for joining. I'm glad you're here. Thanks for being invited. Cheryl Diane said, I speak on personal branding and beauty from the inside out. Reginald Williams, thanks for joining. And I see you, Nicole. I can't get to everybody. Soaring with Help, Hope, and Healing. That's the name of her book. Somebody put the name of their book down. If I had a book right now, and I'd be putting my book down right now. Not because you want to sell it, because you wrote it to help someone else. Look, Brian's talking about how to tell a story. And I'm going to ask him to role play. He didn't know he was going to do this because I didn't know I was going to do this. But I'm sensing right now, Brian, that I like to do one of my favorite segments. If you haven't figured out, they're all my favorite segments. But this is really my favorite segment, by the way. And it's called Today is My January 1st. Now, for those folks that are tuning in for the first time, today is my January 1st is a mantra. And we always write below the video, today is my January 1st. Today is my January 1st. Today is my January 1st. And why do we do that? Because we look back on where we were back on December 31st, and we were excited. We had some goals. We had a new mission. We were going to take care of our health. We were going to take care of our finances. We were going to start a new relationship. We were going to work in our business. We were going to learn that technology. And it wasn't what we were going to do. It was the energy. It was the excitement. It was the peak state that we had in mind. And we woke up the next day, Brian. We told ourselves, well, today is my January 1st. I've got to go to the gym. No. Today is my January 1st. I've got to drink more water. But here's what I learned in my journey with many setbacks, Brian, is that every day can be my January 1st. And there's an old saying that tomorrow is not promised. But here's what I learned growing up in a Pentecostal church. My mom was a pastor. Today is not promised, okay? Tomorrow not promised, but heck, today is not promised for you either. So here's what I like for you to do. I like for everyone to do me a favor that's watching right now. I want you to look right below the video. And I want you to write these words. Today is my January 1st. I get a restart. Today is my January 1st. I get to refuel. Today is my January 1st. I'm getting ready to blast off. Today is my January 1st. I'm going to call my cousin, call my mother, call my aunt, call my loved one. Today is my January 1st. I'm going to crack the code on speaking. Today is my January 1st. My message will make a difference in the world. If that's you and you're ready to own your life, look right below the video, and put today is my January 1st. Today is my January 1st. Now, I don't want you to get excited and motivated and feel inspired and encouraged, although I want that to happen. But I want you to think about what actions are you going to take as a result to make the dream the reality. Here's what I know. The best intentions don't equal the best results. You can write that down another time. The best intentions don't equal the best result. So today is my January 1st. Brian, just repeat after me as they're writing those words right now, that today is my January 1st. Let's just repeat after me and just say it one time if you would. Today is my January 1st.
Today is my January 1st.
That's pretty good. Let's do it again. As I see Cheryl Diane put today is my January 1st. Malika put today is my January 1st. Today is my January 1st. Brian, say those words again.
Today is my January 1st.
All right, one more time for Morgan State, our alumni, by the way. For everyone that's watching right now, for the person says, I always think that, but I never do anything. But I'm going to do it this time because I'm like the zone diet. I love the zone diet mantra, by the way. The zone diet mantra, which I've never been on that diet, but it says this. I'm one meal again from being back on track again. No matter
Oh, yeah.
where you are, no matter what's going on in your life, when your feet hit that ground tomorrow morning, all I want you to say is what? Today is my January 1st. Brian, repeat after me one time.
Today is my January 1st.
Today is your January 1st. Now, when you're writing those words, if you see someone else that wrote the words, today is my January 1st, like Tanisha Ramsey, like Stephen Bell put today is my January 1st, like Ann Humphreys put today is my January 1st, Rona put today is my January 1st, hit the like button, hit the heart button, tell them it's possible, tell them you believe in them. Look, Brian, you weren't supposed to get in this. You're supposed to tell a story. So now I want you to teach. I want you to talk about when you hear the words, today is my January 1st, what goes through your mind, my man? What are you going to do different? And then put it in a story. Like relate a story to a restart, to a rebirth. See, I'm putting him on the spot. It's cool. He can handle it. And then he's going to break down the techniques that he just used. Isn't that so cool? Today is my January 1st. Chippy, I see you. Today is my January 1st. Lisa Jones, I believe you. Today is my what? January 1st. This is your moment. This is your time. All right, Brian, take it away, my man. Talk to me. Today is my January 1st. What's going through your mind?
Yeah, so, I'll never forget, one of the hallmark moments in my life was as I was taking one of my friends back from evening of just hanging out in my house playing video games. I was a senior in high school. I thought I was I thought I was fly. I had a 1998 silver Mustang. It wasn't a convertible, but it was a silver Mustang, low top, super fast, stick shift. I had to learn how to drive it in the rain just to be able to prove that I could take it home, and I did that. And so I'll never forget the evening that I dropped my friend, his name was Richard, off at his house. On my way back, driving along, it was actually 1 a.m. in the morning, super quiet, but there were a few cars on the road. And I'll never forget the moment when another car veered into my car, forced my silver Mustang into the, there was a little median. It forced the car to flip over onto the roof, knocked me clear across the street, and then the car rolled back on to all four wheels. And then the driver that was responsible for that shot off in the other direction. And so as I lay in the car, literally life flashed before my eyes. I hear the sirens start to come in the background. I tumble out of the car. Some people came over to check to see if I was okay. I started just coughing up blood from the impact. I started thinking about, what if? Clearly I was still alive, but what if I wasn't? What if tonight was the last time I said goodbye to my mother? What if tonight was the last time that I saw my friend Richard, the last time that I said goodbye to my grandfather? What if it was the last time that I drew my last breath on earth? And eventually the ambulance rolled in. I remember getting hoisted up, Shay, going to the back of the ambulance and not knowing my full condition. Seemed like I still could, move all of my arms and limbs. And I went to the trauma unit, had an x-ray, and turned out that when the surgeon came in, he said, "Mr. Olds, not sure exactly what just happened, but you're a very lucky man. You have no internal injuries, no spinal damage, you're fine." And my mom came, hugged me, brother came and hugged me, and I started to think about what if. And so, every day is a January 1st, and this was not in January, it's the middle of the summer, but that day became my January 1st because every single day, whether it's a car accident or whether it's a failure in business or whether it's a normal day where nothing happens, that same question always stays relevant in my mind. What if? And the lesson I learned from that is to, not only treat every day like it's important, but also make sure that as I'm personally going through life and thinking about all the things that could be wrong, that could be perfect, not having enough money, business isn't growing as fast as it could be, the people who said they're going to do things aren't doing things, people not doing stuff to you that they said they wouldn't do. Regardless of all that, what if I didn't make it? And there's so many examples and so many people I have to think that I know that if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be here either. So, Shay, that's one example of, a story that's very powerful for me, but it's a continuous reminder of making sure that I show up every single day and I'm grateful for whatever life throws at me, because what if I wasn't here?
Wow. First of all, thanks so much for sharing. For everyone that's watching right now, you're here at the Happy Entrepreneur Show, the #1 business development and revenue-focused late-night show in the country. You listen to Brian J. Oles, the founder of Black Speakers Network. He just shared, today is my January 1st. He shared the story, What If? Do me a favor. Everyone look right below the video right now. Look right below the video. I just want you to write those words. What if? Question, question, question. Just put what if in a question mark. Look right below the video. Look right below the video right now. Just pause what you're doing. If you never touched your fingers on anything before, just look right below the video and put what if. And when we come back, Brian's going to break down the components of how you put that story together. Then he's going to talk about marketing, how to market your message. But put down what if. Very powerful. We're going to go over to Laurel, Maryland, to my good friend and the one and only Rob Howes. And Rob Howes is going to talk about be present where you are. Be present. We'll be back in just a moment. What if? Powerful. Thanks a lot, Brian. We'll be right back.
Hey guys,
All right.
me and Daddy are here.
All right, I'm doing a video.
I got a question.
No, it's not a question. This is a video where I'm telling people something. I'm telling them that today is their January 1st. Today is your January 1st, Happy Entrepreneurs Tribe, because today is the only day you got. Because tomorrow's not promised and yesterday is gone. So the reason why today being your January 1st is significant because it keeps you from procrastination. Procrastination is the destroyer of dreams. Yeah, it's the destroyer. It's the killer of dreams. So, take action. Be present where you're present. That's the real gift. Be present where you are present. That is the real gift. Today is your January 1st. Say today.
Today.
Say today is your January 1st.
Today is January 1st.
Say it loud.
Today is January 1st.
That's it. Don't forget it.
Today, indeed, is your January 1st. Today is your January 1st, and you have an opportunity now for Brian J. Oles, the founder of the Black Speakers Network, to break down how to put together a story. Now, that's a very complicated question, but maybe he'll give you the ABCs. And what if you learn how to make your story more powerful and more persuasive and connect? What if you take one idea, and how many ideas do you need to change your life? One. And you implement that idea, and it makes a difference in the life of someone else. What if you take this one idea you're going to tell around how to share your story, and you use this one idea for the rest of your life? So I want you to pay attention. I want you to listen with new ears right now, and I want you to watch with new eyes. And I'm going to turn it over to him. He didn't know he was going to do this. I didn't know it. We might not get to the 5 M's. I didn't know it, but I'm telling you right now, your story will connect if you follow this formula. So with that being said, Brian, let me turn over you to talk about how to really package and tell your story. And for everyone that's listening right now, look below the video and put be present where you are. Be present right now where you are. Brian, take it away, my man.
Yeah, and so before I jump into the formula, I just want to touch on really quick why stories are so powerful, and often said that, the heart of public speaking. And the person that I admire greatly, Craig Ballantyne, he talks about this a lot. He says, the essence of public speaking is telling a story and making a point. And the thing to keep in mind is that stories are powerful because if long after your message is over, long after you finish your presentation, if people can remember your story, which we're very, as humans, we're innately visual. We remember images, we remember movies and scenes like that because our mind retains information in a very visual way. And so somebody, they may forget the actual words you said, they may forget your stats, your statistics, quotes, things of that nature, but if they remember the story, then they remember the point behind the story. Quick example, The Boy Who Cried Wolf. You probably heard The Boy Who Cried Wolf, in elementary school. It's probably one of the earliest stories that you remember, but you still remember the point behind that story. And for some people, it's 10, 20, 30, 40 years later. And so stories are powerful because you remember the point. If you remember the story, then you remember the point. And if they remember the point, they remember your message. And so I'm going to, just from a mental shift perspective, you really want to make sure that you're incorporating storytelling into your presentations. Now, in terms of the formula, a couple things that you want to keep in mind. Number one is making sure that you're setting a scene for your audience. So just like a great movie, wherever your scene is, like my opening story for this presentation, I said, if you were sitting next to me at Morgan State University in 2006, you'd have watched as I walked to the front of the room, deliver my very first speech in Toastmasters. What's the scene? Morgan State University. What year is it? 2006. Where are you in the scene? Sitting next to me. And so all of these different things, we're literally putting your audience as a spectator into your story. And so that's number one, is creating a scene and being as descriptive as time allows. But the more descriptive you are, the clearer it will be. And one of the ways you could be more descriptive, instead of just telling the audience what they see, that's just one sense. But we have 5 senses available to us. And so the more information you can give your audience around what it feels like. I could say it was if you had been sitting next to me on a hot, sweltering day in the summer of 2006, you would have watched as I walked to the front of the room. I added some other elements in that story. You would have saw my sweaty palms. You would have heard my shaking voice. And so these are things where you can incorporate all 5 senses to the best of your ability. Instead of just visually saying what the audience sees, then you put yourself in a better position to make sure that your audience can remember. The next thing is characters. Every great story has a character, and it's not just you. Who are the people around you? In my stories, the car story, the car crash story, I introduced you to Richard. Now I could have gave you, we didn't have as much time, but I could give you a much more deeper description of Richard. But, if you have a person in your life named Richard, in your mind, you're probably thinking of whoever default person in your life, Richard. That's probably the character that you envisioned in your mind. And so you see how that works. But I could have said Richard was a tall, slinky, light-skinned, kind of awkward guy, and that would be an accurate description. He's a great guy. He's one of my best friends. And so, making sure that you develop your characters and really introducing them by name is going to help, make sure that your audience can connect with those individuals. The next piece, so we talked about setting your scene. We talked about using all 5 senses when you're doing that. We talked about your characters. The next component of storytelling is making sure that you are introducing some sort of conflict. There has to be a point that your story, your characters are faced with some sort of challenge that they're going to be overcoming. That could be you, but it could be somebody else that they are, facing against, a nemesis, for example, or a situation that they have to overcome. And so that's super important. For me, the nemesis was the situation in my first presentation. I was scared to death, and I didn't know how I was going to overcome it. The other thing is, or the next piece is, you need to have some sort of hero. And Shay mentioned this earlier. So it's, more than likely it's not you. It's going to be someone else in that story that's coming to your rescue. Now, the interesting thing about the hero is that it doesn't necessarily has to be a character. It could be a book. It could be advice that was written in a journal left to you by your grandmother. It could be a television commercial that you saw on TV, but it has to be something that helps you find resolution in that conflict that allows the character to move on. And then the final most important thing is the takeaway lesson. And I should have started with this, but I'll end with it because it's just like we talked about earlier, begin with the end in mind. Stories are only good to the extent that they have a takeaway message. So, that rollover car accident story is actually part of a larger signature story that I tell, but that message of what if I didn't have that, it would just be something that happened to me. But it has to be something that your audience can take away and they can vividly remember. They'll be like, oh yeah, that story, boy who cried wolf. What's the takeaway message? Don't lie. Takeaway message, what if? So making sure that you have that. And so in summary, you got to make sure you set the scene using all 5 senses if possible, making sure that you introduce your characters, making sure that you have some sort of hero that you're exposing that you're learning from in the process, and ensuring that there's some sort of hero and a takeaway message.
Wow, I love it, Brian. That is super duper powerful. Those folks that are listening right now, you're listening to Brian, by the way. Brian just broke it down, the components of really telling a story, and he didn't even know he was going to do that. And that's him. He's laughing at me like, Shay, there's no run sheet. There's no questions I have to ask. But from his heart, he has a heart to give, and he has a heart to serve. And for everyone that's listening right now, I want you to do me a favor, because we come back. The guy that is the founder of Black Speakers Network, the person who works with over 5,000 members, who takes calls from speakers like you, or entrepreneurs like you, or coaches like you, for folks that are out there every day. Brian's still in the field. He's got his sleeves rolled up. He's in the trenches. And when he comes back, I'm going to say, Brian, what are some of the marketing tactics that you're seeing, or systems or strategies that are helping speakers get paid to be on the stage, or find a stage and a place to share their message? That's what we're going to do. But before we do that, I want you to look below the video, and I want you to say, give him a digital applause. We're going to give Brian a digital applause. Now, for all of my new viewers, we want to welcome you. For all of my returning viewers, it is always a pleasure. How do we give a digital applause? Shay, how in the LL Cool J do we do this? Don't worry, we're going to break it down. The way you do it is you look right below the video. You look right. They said I was coming in low because I had the volume down. Oh, my gosh.
I can hear you.
Mic check. Can you hear me now? Oh my gosh! I hit the button when he was talking because I didn't want to sneeze, and y'all hear me blowing my nose. By the way, I apologize for that. So let me do a mic check. If you can hear me, say Shay. We can hear you. Well, Brian, you can hear me because I'm talking directly to you. But I had the volume down, so they couldn't hear a word I was saying. Don't worry about it. I'm not perfect, but I'm getting better. See, if you chase perfection and you miss like I do often, I still land among excellence. You can use that as a topic for another time. I screwed up. That's the bottom line. So what I was trying to tell you guys is that Brian is an amazing person. And when we come back, Brian's going to talk about how to market your business, because he has over 5,000 members in the Black Speakers Network. He talks to people like you every single day, by email, by phone, by social media. And one of the top 5 questions that has to come up is, how do I market myself so I can get paid as a speaker? How can I make sure that people hear my message? How do I get onto stages? How do I get on a platform? What's working today? Not what works for somebody 10 years ago, not what worked 5 years ago, but Brian, your finger is on the pulse right now. Talk to me. And here's the good news. You don't have to stroke a check today for $5,000. There's no cash app needed. All you got to do is pay attention, hang in there, and we come back. He's going to break that down. So what I was going to ask everyone to do, thank you, Tanisha. You can hear me. Thank you, Malika. Thank you, Amanda. Thank you, Dwight. They said loud and clear. Check 1, 2, 3. I've always wanted to do that. Here's what I want you to do. We're going to give him a digital applause. And the way we give him a digital applause is look right below the video and just put, thank you, Brian. Put Brian, we appreciate you. Or put Brian, my number one takeaway, and the best is still yet to come. My number one takeaway, don't worry, we in overtime, but we ain't going nowhere. My number one takeaway so far, Brian, is blank. Make a point and tell a story. So look right below the video and say thank you. Put we appreciate you. It's a digital applause. It's a way for you to give a hugs to a man who gave up his time, his talent, and his treasure to be here at the Happy Entrepreneur Show for you and for me. So we thank you so much. April said, good job, Brian. Thanks a lot right now. Jacqueline says, great job, Brian. Just put thank you. Put we appreciate you. Hit the heart button. Hit the like button. Hit the share button. And we come back, you're going to learn how you can market your message. Mimi says, thank you so much. Cheryl Diane and Mimi always says, thank you so much. Steven said, thank you so much, Brian, for giving up your time. They really, really appreciate it, man. I appreciate it, and every single one of them making comments appreciate that. All right, we're going to take a commercial. For those that are writing, thank you. We appreciate you hitting the heart button. And when we come back, I see you, CW Krista said, I appreciate you. When we come back, you're gonna get that one question answered, the question you always wanted to know, which is I'm gonna get to all the 5 answers, but how do I market my business? How do I make that happen? Malika said, my number one takeaway so far, Brian, is the manner in which you communicate. So belly to belly and heart to heart. Thanks, Brian. Dwight Pleasure said, thank you, Brian. I will be in touch. Dr. Will Moreland, you just bring out the all-stars, man. You bring out the freaking all-stars. What's up, man? Dr. Will Moreland said, yeah, he said, I know he's in the book. I saw it on Instagram. He said, boom, Brian, boom. Tanisha Ramsey said, thank you, Brian. Chippy said, thank you, Brian. We totally appreciate you. Don't worry, y'all. The best is yet to come. The best is yet to come. The best is yet to come. We'll be right back. We'll show you a commercial of something that's coming up, the Close Conference. We'll be back in just a moment.
It's a great day. My name is Shay Brown, the founder of the Happy Entrepreneur Network and the host of the #1 business development and revenue-focused late-night show in the country, the Happy Entrepreneur Show. And I'm super excited. I'm over the moon. Just enjoyed to be able to share this special VIP invitation for you to join me at thecloseconference.com. Just look right below the video, and go to closeconference.com, an opportunity for you to attend virtually or in person. Now, who is this for? If you're an entrepreneur, if you're a speaker, if you're a coach, if you're a network marketer, if you're in the personal professional development, or you're just someone right now that is overwhelmed and overworked and you need to generate some qualified leads of people who want to work with you, whether they come from online leads or offline leads, then you need to be there. Or maybe you're someone that wants to, you say, well, Shay, right now I have what's called yo-yo entrepreneur type of revenue, right? Reasons but no results. So it's time for you really to put together your own 7-figure revenue generating infrastructure so you can make more money without your labor. You can take back your time and you can take back your life. Then you want to be there. Or maybe you just want to be able to broadcast just like I'm doing right now. I'm at Broadcastpreneur Studios right here in this set right now. And you need to reach your audience online through the power of those fiber optic lines. Then you need to be at what? Thecloseconference.com. Or maybe it's just time for you to get all the resources you need in your business so you can serve the people you were called to serve and have more meaning in the world, have more impact in the world, and make $1 and a difference at the same time. If that's you, look right below the video, and go to closeconference.com. I promise you'll learn about how to generate unlimited sponsorships. You'll learn about how to tell your story and have more impact. And more importantly, you're going to have more success, more joy, and more happiness in your business. I'm so excited. Look, join me at closeconference.com. Share this with all your friends. I'm looking forward to seeing you. My promise to you is it'll be a good use of your time. My promise to you is that you're going to generate more revenue than you've ever generated before in your life and have more happiness. With that being said, my name, by the way, is Shay Brown, the Happy Entrepreneur. Make it a great day, everyone, and I promise you we'll make some good things how we connect again next time. God bless, and I wish you success. See you soon.
Welcome back to the Happy Entrepreneur Show, the #1 business development and revenue-focused late-night show in the country. You're here with myself, Shay Brown, and none other than Brian J. Oles, the founder of Black Speakers Network. And now he's going to answer the question that's been on everyone's mind. If I went to my email box, I'm sure there's a question in there right now. If I picked up my phone, there's probably a text message right now, which is, Shay, can you ask the guy? Can you get around to asking the guy? What's 1, 2, or 3 marketing ideas, our strategies, our systems that he's sharing with his network behind the scenes that he's going to make public to all of us. Isn't that cool? Like, he's going to pull back the big black curtain right now. He's going to reach into his treasure chest of secrets and say, I came to serve, I came to give, and I came to bless. Because he believes in the giver's economy. The person that outgives the competition out-earns the competition. Let me say that again. The giver's economy. We believe in that. That's what we believe in here. The person that outgives the competition out-earns the competition. He's coming to give. Now, you can give back too. You can share his message. And when he finishes, I'm going to ask him where you can meet him at. What location will he be at? Where's the next spot you can show up at and have eye-to-eye contact, because there's just a different dynamic. It's cool through the power of these fiber optic lines, but there's nothing like being eye-to-eye, hugging on each other, breaking bread with each other, and socializing. He's going to talk about that, and don't worry about that. I'm going to find out where he is. I'm going to ask him to do something special. Don't worry. You ain't getting away. He thought he was getting away. No way, baby. No way. All right. Give us that marketing message, man. Give us 1, 2, or 3 marketing ideas that folks can use today. Back over to you, my man.
Yeah, so I appreciate that, Shay. So I think, this is a good opportunity as we get into marketing, do a quick recap. So far we talked about getting clarity on your mission, your message, and now we're talking about marketing. But the reason that I wanted to revisit those is because oftentimes, and I know, when new speakers join Black Speakers Network, we ask them a ton of questions. We want to know where they're speaking, how often they're speaking, what their target audience is, what they charge, what type of materials that they have. We get everything. Right. And the number one question that every speaker has is, how do I find more speaking engagements? And, and I get it. But unfortunately, most of the time, the question is a little misplaced because, really what they're asking is, how do I get more people to book me on their stages? And so, I just want to challenge that question a little bit because, at the end of the day, it's really not about you convincing more people to get on their stages. What it is about creating and solidifying yourself as the most visible, consistent expert in your niche, regardless of who's putting you on your stages, and making sure that you can control the things that are within your control to ensure that the people that you'll call to serve, you are in a position to serve them in an effective and consistent way. And so I'm gonna break that down in a second, but I just want to go back to those first 2 M's because, if you don't have clarity on your mission, which is that speaker sweet spot, making sure that you understand what you're passionate about, what your knowledge and expertise and what the market demand is for that, then you will go broke trying to market because you will effectively be trying to market to everybody. And when you market to everybody, you're effectively marketing to nobody. You don't have a budget to there's no ad spend in the world that's going to help you, attract the eyeballs of everybody. When somebody hears you speak, when they read your web copy, when they open your email, there should be something that is letting them know that this speaker, like Shay Brown, Ron Knowles, like I need them because they're speaking to me. And if they can't find yourself, if they can't find their solution, if they can't find the answer to their pain in your content that you're providing, then it doesn't matter how great you get at sending out speaker proposals and things of that nature, because you have to get clarity. Now, that being said, there are a bunch of different marketing tools at your disposal. Some of the common ones you'll hear about are making sure that you have a solid speaker website, electronic press kit, a one sheet. And there are sub items within that, making sure that you have a solid speaker headshot, making sure you have a strong bio, speaker video. But in my opinion, Shay, the number one marketing tool above all of that you can have as a speaker is a great presentation. In fact, it's what I call a killer presentation. And that's why the message comes before marketing, because if you're a speaker, drop a 1 or maybe a yes in the comments if you're a speaker and you've received a 1 or more of your past speaking engagements have come from a previous speaking engagement. this is a long-term business, and the mindset that, I know we had Dr. Will Moreland on here listening. One of the things he teaches very effectively is developing the mindset of a successful professional speaker. And one of the mindset shifts is going from this this idea that you can, just quickly, make 5 or 6 figures to this is a long-term relationship business. There's going to be somebody in your audience that you speak to next week that will hire you 5 years from now. And if that person's not hiring, they may refer you to somebody that is going to hire you, or they may influence a decision maker that's going to hire you. And so I want you to start thinking with that mentality that when you're getting on stage, I don't care if you're speaking to 5 people or 500 people or 5,000 people, you need to ensure that you're giving the best presentation possible. Now, there's going to be some second order benefits of giving that killer presentation. Number one, you're going to wow the audience, and obviously that will lead to referrals. Number 2, you're going to get phenomenal testimonials. Number 3, you're going to get great speaker video. Number 4, you're going to get outstanding photos. Number 5, you're going to get recommendations from the meeting planners. In fact, one of the things that we tend to forget about as we're thinking about how to get on more stages and increasing our marketing visibility, your best customers are always your prior customers. And so your rehire rate is something that you want to take into account too. If you do a great job, if you're speaking at, FedEx or, some other company and they bring you in, guess what? They probably have another office. They probably have another meeting. They probably have another event that they could use you somewhere else in the company. And so it's not a one and done thing. Again, this is a relationship business. And so those are the things that I want you to keep in mind. Number 1, beyond, yes, you eventually want to have a speaker's website. You want to have a polished speaker video. Yes, you want to have a professional bio. And by professional, I mean you didn't write it. Have somebody else write it for you. We have resources, for all of this stuff. Yes, you want to have professional headshots. No selfies in the back of the car with some guy, hanging on. You want to, get all that stuff tight. But the number one marketing tool, I'm telling you, if you all would just get serious about developing a killer signature presentation, that when you get that speaking opportunity, you blow their socks off, then you won't have an issue with all these other things. That will happen. The second thing I'll leave you with from a marketing perspective is one of the mantras we've kind of adopted within Black Speakers Network is that, I don't wait for speaking engagements. I am a speaking engagement. I don't wait for speaking engagements. I am a speaking engagement. What does that mean? The reality is that no matter how great a speaker you are, there's going to be some stages that you just aren't going to get on, period. We did a poll in our group the other day, and I asked everybody, what's their dream stage? And some people, said Essence. Some people said, Oprah. Some people said the TD Jakes event. And, those are great aspirational things. But the reality is every single person listening to this right now, by virtue of the fact that you can see me, I know that you have an internet connection. If you have an internet connection, that automatically means you have the ability to create a speaking opportunity. It may be too late for some of y'all on the East Coast, but regardless of when you're watching this, you have the ability in the next 15 minutes to create a speaking opportunity if you want to. You can go live, you can write an article, you can create your own webinar, you could get on a podcast, which is ridiculously easy. I've done over 15 podcasts so far this year. Those have all been speaking engagements. And so you don't wait for speaking opportunities, you make speaking opportunities, but you better make sure that you're giving your best. And like Shay said, you're bringing content and value with each of those opportunities. And now those are my biggest marketing tips.
Nah, man, that is just so powerful. For those folks that are listening right now, as he's talking about marketing, do me a favor. If you have a topic that you speak on, and you know what that topic is, just look right below the video and put my signature topic is blank. Like you might have 20 in your arsenal, but this is the one. This is the one, baby, that's close to your heart. This is the one that people want to hear, or whatever the reason is. For some reason, some folks, their favorite signature presentation is the one that just comes from their heart. They just love that one. They don't get paid for it, but people love it. It doesn't really matter. Look right below the video. Look right below the video. And as you're watching right now, you're like, Shay, I don't know what my signature presentation is. Shay, I haven't really found that part yet. When we come back, I'm going to ask Brian to give you his information and connect with Black Speakers Network. Today is your January 1st. And you can set the intention right now that at the minimum, the next time we get together, you're going to have a signature presentation. And for the person that has their signature presentation and understands their talk and understands their message, I'm going to connect with Brian. And my promise from the Happy Entrepreneur Show is you've got a place to speak. Now, it might be me and you, but that's okay. We start where we are. And that's my promise. And all I'm asking Brian to do is help you say, well, this is the message, Shay. This is what they're going to talk about. This is the vision they have for the people they were called to serve. Now, Brian, if they don't know what their signature talk is, can you help them create it? Can you help them like pull that out of them to help them get going? Because this is very important, because people want to speak and they want to help, and they ain't talking to nobody at all. They do a podcast, ain't nobody there. They do a broadcast, ain't nobody there. But that's okay. You start where you are. Brian, can you help them at least create that signature talk?
Yeah, and so one of the powerful things that, our entire Black Speakers Network business is built on the principle of collaboration. This is a great example of that. And so one of the things that we put in place very early on is our platform partner program. And a platform partner is essentially our consortium of entrepreneurs that provide services for speakers. And so we have a cadre of everything from speech coaches to photographers, videographers, website design specialists. We partner with Speakers Magazine, Pam Perry out of Detroit, Michigan, Danielle Tucker for professional speaker websites, Rakita Johnson that has like the Slay Your Stage program, Cheryl Wood, Dr. Will Moreland has his program. And so, for individuals that, our goal is to meet speakers where they are and plug in, everybody somewhere on a curriculum. And guess what? There's no magic pill. There's no secret formula to the right speaking business. There's 1,000 different ways that your business can look. It depends on your goals. And it also depends on, how fast you want to go and what your needs are. But the reality is that if you need a signature talk, if you needed any support in those marketing tools that we just mentioned, we have resources there to help with that.
Good. So we're going to learn about those resources. We're going to learn how to connect with Brian J. Oles. Brian J. Oles, how do they connect with you? And we come back. He's going to talk about how to monetize and manage your message. For some of you, it's hard to get to the money because you don't have a signature presentation. Now, I'm looking right below, by the way. I'm looking right below, Brian, and I'm seeing who put it down. April N. Phillips said, my signature talk is financial freedom. Now, I don't know if it's a talk or not, but you'll help me out there. Brian J. Oles, that is so ironic. You emphasize the areas and resources that he needs for himself. Thanks a lot. Mimi put, my signature presentation is speaking to others about how God taught me what my mission was and the strategies he gave me. Okay. Nicole Brown Hurston put, my signature presentation, Shades of Me, the Day Life Changed. If you have a signature talk right now, and you're not putting this down for me, just like I didn't ask you to put down the topic of your book for me, or honestly, no offense, for Brian. We actually put it down for those folks that are watching. These videos go viral. And somebody right now may have the goal of bringing in an author, and your book might connect with their community. Someone might be having the goal of bringing someone to their webinar. Your message may connect. The topic may connect. Someone may have the goal of bringing to their next event, or they might want to do a joint Facebook Live with you. So you're putting it for someone else. So if you don't know, it's okay. There's no shame there. But I want you to hear me like you've never heard me, because Brian can help you. And he didn't come here to say, Shay, I want to help people. He just said, Shay, how can I serve? But I'm sensing right now that for some of you, that's the biggest gap. It's the message and being able to market it. Making the money come. One of the things I teach is don't chase the money. Add value, and the money will chase you. Let me say that again. Don't chase the money. Add value, and the money will chase you. When we come back, Brian Oles is going to talk about the money. I get it. He's going to talk about how to manage it. I get it. But he's going to give you his contact information. I want you to write that down. I want you to reach out to him, because if I don't hear you, if I don't see you, you can see Brian, but Brian can't see you. You can hear Brian, but Brian can't hear you. But he'll go back and he'll see in the comments below. And look, I'm not going to beg you, but I'm going to tell you right now. Somebody said I don't know. Amanda, connect with Brian. All right, we're going to go over to none other than the one and only Iris Allison. Now, I love Iris because Iris talks about introverts make great leaders. She's always talking about introverts and how they are the best leaders. I'm a high introvert. You meet me anywhere else, I'm probably going to be the quietest guy there, right? It's okay. So I love to share her message. It's in line. And I'm going to ask Brian when he come back and talk about how to monetize. Do they have to be loud? Do they have to be extroverts? They got to be jumping up and down and running all around in order to be part of Black Speakers Network? Or is there a place for people like me? Introverts at the core of our heart. Every analysis, I'm a core at my heart. I do want to recognize Dwight Pleasure put the power of three dimensionals as his topic. Malika put her topic down. Regina put breaking financial curses through financial literacy. I see you. I see you out there. All right, let's go over there. And we come back. We're going to break this thing down. We're coming down the home stretch. We'll be back in just a moment. Over to none other than Iris Allison. Take it away, Iris.
Hello, happy entrepreneurs tribe. Hope you're all doing well. Iris Allison here with the Allison Group, and today is my January 1st. I'd like to share with you what took place recently. I was talking to a young lady the other day, and she asked me a really good question. Is being humble a good quality to have in her line of work as a coach? Good question, right? I should also point out that she's an introvert. She's been a life coach for a little under a year, so she's really new in the industry, and she's still learning as she builds her business. Now, I think according to her question, she's more concerned about staying humble while leading her members, leading her students. That's how I understood it anyway. And my reply was this: absolutely. I believe being humble is a very good quality to have, not just for introverted entrepreneurs, but for everyone, for all entrepreneurs. A humble leader has inner strengths. We have the strengths and the courage to admit when mistakes are made. And we know we all make mistakes from time to time. A humble leader also inspires leadership. And as introverts, we're able to focus on others and serve those around us. So being humble is not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of confidence. It's a sign of greatness. I hope this inspires you. I hope this is helpful for you. Until next time, make it a brilliant day.
Make it a brilliant day. You're here at the Happy Entrepreneur Show. I'm going to turn it over to my man, the one and only Brian J. Oles, the founder of Black Speakers Network. He talks about how to monetize your message and, more importantly, how to manage it. And before you do that, Brian, make sure you give them their contact information. Give them your contact information now. I want to make sure we get that. We get that again so they can reach out to you. And for everyone out there that just wants to run their signature story by none other than Brian, then I'm going to suggest you connect with him. Brian, go ahead and let them know how they connect with you, my man.
Well, I think the easiest way for those who aren't yet members is to check us out at blackspeakersnetwork.com. So that's Black Speakers with an S, network.com. You could join up, become a member. We have 2 levels there. So just click join and you can select the one that works best for you. To reach out to me personally, you can connect with me on LinkedIn. You can email me at Brian J. Old at Black Speakers Network. Or you could send me a text to 443-731-6537. That's 443-731-6537. And we can take it from there. So I'm pretty easy to find on pretty much all platforms, including Instagram at Brian J. Olds, and I think I'm at my limit almost on Facebook, but Instagram, LinkedIn, and email and text too.
Cool beans, man. Thanks a lot for sharing that, by the way. Now, the question that's on your mind is when you say the word monetize, I know you only got so much time, but how do they monetize the message? And I do want to point out the key of what you said. First, make sure you have your mission in line. Then make sure you have your message in line. Then make sure you're marketing correctly so that when you do show up and there are deliverables and someone wants to write a check, they know exactly why they're writing a check. And why do I say that, Shay? Give me your sales view of the mind. Give me one sentence, but your sales view of the world. And my sales view of the world is a confused mind rarely buys. Let me say that again. A confused mind rarely buys. So what I love is that Brian's bringing clarity to who you are, what your mission is, and your message. Now he's going to talk about how to monetize it. Brian, my man, that's the question on their mind for some folks. Like, I became an entrepreneur, start off as a hobby. This is a lot of fun, but how do I monetize this message? Then how do I manage the money that I'm bringing in?
Yeah, good stuff. And so I want to start with a caveat, which is that I think the number one most valuable thing that every single person listening to this right now, regardless of what industry you're in, whether it's speakers or, I don't care if you're in a restaurant or if you cut hair or whatever. I think the number one most valuable asset you can build in 2019 is a list, an email list specifically. And so, for us, for Black Speakers Network, that's where we started before we, did anything. We got, really passionate about connecting with the audience that we're called to serve. And I believe that when we get to this topic of monetization, my overarching belief in business is that your income, really in life, your income is a direct reflection of the problems that you solve and the size of the problems that you solve and the amount of people that you solve that problem for. So if you want to increase your income, you really have one of two choices. You can increase the amount of people that you solve a problem for, so one of my favorite examples is like on my cell phone, the pop socket, right? Everybody is into these things now. They cost like, I'm sure they're probably worth like, 25 cents, but they cost like $7.99 for whatever reason. But, very low cost product, but it solves a problem for millions of people. And so, I love it. I really can't use my phone without it now. It keeps me from like hitting it in my face. But you could solve a small problem for a very large number of people. Or you could solve a very big problem for a small number of people in a very niche industry. Very few people are going to solve a very big problem for a large number of people. That would be like the cure for cancer or something like that. Very few people can do that, but anybody can do the first two. And so I think the goal initially is to build a list. You want to build a digital community. Trevor has an amazing presentation on that. I saw it at PNC. I saw it again a couple of weeks ago, about building these digital communities. And he's right. You will get paid in proportion to the number of people that you serve, but you can't serve people effectively unless you have a way to reach them. And that's an email list. So that's number one. In terms of monetization, I want to I don't know if this is a word, but, de-romanticize. I want to bring some realism to, kind of the state of the professional speaking industry in 2019 from my perspective. Just because you don't get a check slipped in your pocket at the end of a speaking engagement doesn't mean you can't be a paid professional speaker. There are so many ways to monetize your message if you adopt this philosophy of building a list, other than having a check slipped in your pocket, which we teach over 20, and I can run through them. But when it comes to monetizing your message, I just want to get you away from this concept that, I'm only speaking at paid speaking engagements. If you can get in front of an audience and you can sell a product or you can sell a service, or you can, if your target audience is at that event and you have permission to be able to engage that audience and get them into your network, then that's a win. Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't, still go after paid speaking opportunities. I think you absolutely should. But, and again, everybody's mix is different. But in the end of the day, we can talk about double-digit ways that you can monetize your speaking business. Let me roll through them real quick. Obviously, you have your speaker fee. You can sell from stage. You have books, digital downloads. So my very first product was a $5 PDF called 51 Online Resources to Find and Book Speaking Engagements. I came from work. I was still working full time. Now I'm full-time in BSN, but I came home on a Friday night. Friday night was my, BSN, like all in night. I started at 10 p.m. I was finished at 2 a.m. So it took me 4 hours to create a digital product. It was a $5 digital product that we made over 4 figures from. Now it's a free product that we just give away. But that was my very first thing that I did. And so that was a way of testing the market, seeing what people are interested in. And here's what I know. Everybody that's in the sound of my voice right now is no more than 24 hours away. If you don't have a digital product, if you don't have anything, everybody is 24 hours away from having a saleable product that you can offer in the marketplace to bring in revenue, period. You can do it. This was a PDF. It wasn't a glowing magic, whatever. It's a PDF, so you can do that. So anyway, you got ebooks, audio, physical books. Obviously, everybody, talk to Terea about that. Online courses, membership and subscription sites like Black Speakers Network. We could talk about the back end of that. You could easily have your own membership. Again, if you're building a digital community, you can join an affiliate program and start getting money from selling other people's products. You could start an affiliate program and start giving people revenue for sharing your product or service. You could host your own seminar, workshop. There are sponsorships, coaching/consulting, which are two very different things, but those are very lucrative revenue sources. You can host webinars, virtual classes. There's licensing. People still listen to audio CDs. You can have a physical product. Just don't think just because CDs are going by the wayside from a music perspective, people don't still have CDs in their car. Millions of people do, and they will buy them and listen to your content. DVDs, same thing. People still watch DVDs. And you can still make them and sell them. Physical products, hats, T-shirts, mugs. I'm wearing this 1440 shirt. And so things that people can actually buy at your events. And now I'm not saying go crazy and print a whole bunch of T-shirts with the hope to sell them. But these days, it's so easy to make a concept. One of the things that we do is we test little quotes that we come up with on social media, and whichever quote works the best, that becomes a shirt. So there you go. Online ad revenue, brand ambassadors, whatever. So there are a ton of different ways. I know we're running slow on time, Shay. Look,
man. Look, we just hanging out. You and I, we're just having a conversation right now. I just asked the question because folks don't get access to people like you because you're busy, you train, you consult companies, you consult individuals. And so, I'm not trying to hold you, but, I want folks to kind of sense where your heart's coming from. The guy would do this for free. You have your work that you do to get paid because that's what you maybe have to do to get paid. And then you have the work you do, I call it your life work. And Brian has moved into the phase now that he's into his life work. When you see me doing a Happy Entrepreneur Show, this is my life work. I do this because we do want to inspire. We do want to empower. And we do, as you know, we say oftentimes, and it's so true, we do want to make sure that you have the resources necessary to live a well-balanced life and execute the vision for the people you were called to serve. And we say that so often. So the reason I wasn't slowing him down, he's not going to be all night because he's like in triple overtime now, is that right now he is not just inspiring, but he is providing a resource. And one of the things that we've been saying as a company, and the mantra really has been lately, is that the opposite of wealth is not poor. The opposite of wealth is underdeveloped resources. So when Brian showed up, the opposite of wealth is not poor. Someone write that down. Look right below the video. Look right below the video. I'm not going to cut them off, but look right below the video. And this is very, very important. This is for the winners. This is for the champions. This is for the folks who are unique. You know you have the potential inside of you to perform at a higher level. Not only do you have the potential to perform at a higher level, but you know you're ready to do it. And so the reason I say the opposite of wealth is not poor, but the opposite of wealth is underdeveloped resources, because Brian is here right now to develop the one resource that you have inside of you for the people you were called to serve, that only you can deliver that message that's inside of you for those that want to do it either in person, through print, through media. The guys give you every freaking way to do it. I'm going to be quiet, but I wanted to lay that out there because that is so important. Now, I don't say that to be funny, but I do say that the opposite of wealth is not poor. The opposite of wealth is underdeveloped resources. So if there was one mantra you could put right below the video, if there was one sentence you could put right below the video, if there was one takeaway that you could put right below the video right now, and the only way I'm asking you to write this down, it doesn't mean you're going to do it. It doesn't mean you're going to do it. But the fact that you wrote it down means you're more likely to do it. In fact, 20 times more likely to do it. And here it is. I must develop my resources. That's why Brian's here. I must develop my resources. Communication. I must develop my resources, my message. I must develop my resources, whether I'm doing it online. I must develop my resources, whether I'm doing it offline. You put right below the video, I must develop my resources. And as you do that, then you pay close attention to Brian. Now, he's almost done, but I want him to take his time, and I want him to kind of understand he's helping you develop his resources. I'm only encouraging, I'm on a monologue now, but I'm only encouraging you to go over to Black Speakers Network and join, because I know many of you need to develop your resources. It's not about another speaker coach or a speaking class or something like that. This is about being part of a network that has one mission and one mission only: for your voice to be heard, for the people you were called to serve, for the people that are attracted to your voice, attracted to your message, and attracted to your core values. That's the reality. And that's why we have this show here, really to provide a resource. That's it. That's it. That's it. We ain't got anything to sell. It's not like, go to your closet right now and get a credit card or put this in. No. You look right below that video and you put, I must develop my resources. I must develop my resources. And as you do that, as I see you, Stephen Bell, I must develop my resources. I see you, Chippy. I must develop my resources. Gloria Moore says, I must develop my resources. Kimberly McGrew says, I must develop my resources. Ann Humphrey says, I must develop my resources. Then you're at the right place, at the right time, hearing the right message from the right guy who has the right organization, Black Speakers Network. And I only say that from the bottom of my heart because I haven't seen anyone else. He could have told stories this whole time, but he's really giving you the best that he has right now. So with that being said, I'll let you go ahead and finish up, by the way. I know you were going over a list of things, but as I see Malika put, I must develop my resources, and Nicole put, I must develop my resources, and Karen put, I must develop my resources. I'm over here in another group that we're in that said, I must develop my resources. Give them one or two more ideas, man, around this monetize and management, and then give them how they can connect with you, man, because you are the right organization, man. You are the answer to someone's headache right now.
Well, yeah, I think, I appreciate that. And I think we can kind of tie management into this because honestly, what we're talking about is developing resources. Really, management is all about that. It's developing systems. And so when we look at shifting from monetization to management, management really comes down to this core principle of, am I going to be a speaker or am I going to be running a speaker business? And when we're talking about running a speaker business, we're talking about ensuring that you're introducing scalable resources that give you the ability to do what you do best and outsource / provide leverage for the things that you don't necessarily need to be doing directly. And so, when we're thinking about developing your resources, that's all BSM was really created to do, is to create a shortcut between where you are and where your audience is, and be able to kind of reduce the amount of time and headache and energy that it takes to get to those things. So, what are we talking about? So, number one is systems. And, I talked earlier about making sure that, you have an email list. And so, simple things like having, customer relationship management tool. I know, Shay, you guys had Justin Morgan on not too long ago. We had him come into the group 2 weeks ago to talk to us about, creating, a sales funnel and putting those digital pieces together to ensure that you are effectively continuously nurturing that list and making sure that you're able to qualify your leads and get them out and get the resources together. We want to make sure that, you are set up legitimately, that you have a business LLC set up to protect yourself, that you have speaker contracts in place, that you are, operating your business like a business, which means that you're running financial reporting, that you have, accounting, bookkeeper, that you're paying taxes, that you're, doing all the things that are necessary to, go from being a speaker to running a speaking business. And that's really what the management component is about. And so it doesn't make sense to, monetize, go through the pleasure and the joy of monetizing all this just to get hit with an IRS audit and having to, have all these things come back to bite you. And so, we're not interested in, just trying to help people one-dimensionally. We want to make sure that you have clarity into all aspects of running a business with integrity, with intelligence, with a clear focus on serving your audience, and with the mindset that you don't have to do it alone. And so that's really, at the core of all these things. And at the end of the day, it's like the grocery store technique, right? There's no way you're going to go into, your major supermarket. If you're hungry, you're not just going to show up and clear everything. You're going to go down the aisles and pick the things that make the most sense for you based on the industry that you serve, the audience that you serve, and where you are in your life. Not everybody wants to be on stage 180 times per year. We have an entire section that just talks about like how to master your business with webinars. We have an entire, section that's focused on how to, build a membership program. So these are things where, you pick one or two things to really focus in on. And once you have those things, you go to the next thing. And so that's my main thing, Shay. As we think about getting clarity on your mission, your message, your marketing, how to monetize, and the management of your speaking business, realize that this, at the end of the day, it's your business. You have to take action, but we want to make sure that you take the right action, and you don't have to, go into the pitfall that everybody else did. Plug into a community where you can get the experience from others and start to carve out a path that makes sense for you in this industry.
Yeah, I love it, man. I love what you're doing, man. I love it. I love how you broke that thing down. When we come back, we're going to come down the home stretch. We're going to bring this thing down the home stretch. Ramona Russell said, I must develop my resources. She's out there for you, Brian. She's out there for you, by the way. She want to let you know that. Malika said, I must develop my resources. You got none other than Crystal Cunningham. I don't know how you bring them out, saying, I must develop my resources. And what's the one resource you want to develop? We come back. We're gonna close. I have one of my favorite segments where I get to ask any question I want. Anything goes, by the way. Brian said he's going to answer something. I don't got to let the guy go, man. The guy is just a giver amongst givers. We're going to go over to none other than the one and only Letitia Nicole down in Raleigh, North Carolina. She focuses on perfection does not mean you're on purpose. So don't always try to be perfect. Let's go over and see what she got to say. We'll be right back, and then we're going to bring this thing down the home stretch. I must do what? Develop my resources. The opposite of wealth is not poor. The opposite of wealth is underdeveloped resources. Yeah. I must develop my resources. I love it. Over to you, Letitia Nicole.
Hello, hello, hello to all of the happy entrepreneurs out there. It's your girl, Letitia Nicole Beatty, and I am your CEO, founder of Speak Life Enterprises. And today is my January the 1st. And I would like to share my thought of the week with you. But before I share my thought of the week, I must give a huge shout out to the man that created this most amazing group of happy entrepreneurs, Shay Brown. Hello, Shay Brown. I know you're having an awesome week. Okay, now let me get to my thought of the week. My thought of the week is about perfection. How perfection can ruin your business. The consequences of being a perfectionist, it can cause failure and worry, and it also can cause health problems like depression and anxiety, eating disorders, fatigue, and even sudden death. So I want to tell you guys, it does not have to be perfect to be purposed. I'm going to say it again. It does not have to be perfect to be purposed. It was a time in my life that I thought everything needed to be perfect before I put it out into the atmosphere. This video may not be perfect, but guess what? It is purposed. You guys, my name is Letitia Nicole, and I speak life so that we all may have life more abundantly. But until we meet again, you don't have to be perfect to be purposed. So practice on just being who you are and putting it out, even if it's not perfect. I bet you it's going to be purposed. All right? Talk to you soon.
It doesn't always have to be perfect. Isn't that so true? There's a time for completion. There's a time for perfection, and there's a time for completion. There's a time for perfection, doing your taxes, and there's a time for completion. Time for perfection, driving the speed limit. Time for completion. And for some of you, it's just about completing your message. For some of you, it's about getting it out there. For some of you, it's like Gloria Moore, who just wrote, I must develop my resources. We're in the rapid fire section where we ask any question as we come down the home stretch. And I'm going to just ask Brian as he's out there. Brian, why do you do what you do, man? Like why? Like, why is this near and dear to you? You could be the guy somewhere else that's getting paid big bucks, but you're still out there helping folks not only start their speaking business, not only run their speaking business, but take their business to an entirely different level. So the question most folks have in their mind is, why does Brian even do this?
Yeah. And so, I mean, it still goes back to me to the Morgan State University story. And, there was something that struck me as I was listening to speakers come across stage in my own events and things of that nature. I was just, I always felt like I was a connector. My friend Deepo had a scene that he used to call me like the great connector and stuff like that. And I was like always thinking about why he said that. But there's something that compels me if I hear you speak and, you talk about, sales, like you're an expert salesperson. And as I'm sitting and listening to you, I'm like, man, there's somebody that if they were sitting here listening to what you just said, that would totally transform their life. And so for me, my thought then becomes, if Shay's out there doing his thing and, it's kind of, spreading his message, if I could be a conduit to help get more of the people that need to hear from Shay that wouldn't organically, get funneled into your network, then I need to do that. Like, I feel like it's a sense of responsibility to be able to do that. And so I can't not do it, if that makes sense. I have to be the person that is working to ensure, like, once I know your message, which is why I love, like, every single person that joins Black Speakers Network, like, I read their bio, I look at their material, I try to get a sense of, who they are and what they're focused on. And so, like, I'm attuned to that thing so that when I hear somebody, it's like, oh, no, you need to talk to Shay. You need to talk to Cheryl. You need to talk to Keandra. You need to talk to Lena. Like, all these people, I'm just like, okay, I just want to be a person that helps to, if I can accelerate the amount of time to get you from the information, knowledge, and resource that you have to the audience that you serve, then I feel like I'm serving my purpose from that perspective.
Well said. What do you say? And I want to give a shout out to the one and only guy with the biggest heart next to yours is Frank Marshall. Frank Marshall's in Atlanta. Frank Marshall, we love you, man. Thanks a lot for tuning in. And you got Nova in the house. What's up, Nova? Shavona is in the house right now watching wherever she is in the world, because who knows where she is, but she's tuned in right now. What do you say to the person that says it like Shay Brown? I'm a stutterer. I was a stutterer when I was in school, by the way. I still even stutter to this day. And sometimes when I read stuff, I read things backwards. They say, Shay, it doesn't sound like that. And they're not sure they sound professional. They don't sound like you. I mean, you've been a Toastmaster. Like, I'm not a Toastmasters person, and I'm not a National Speaker Association person. So, why would just that nervousness is there, and I don't blame them because people are looking at them and they're like, gosh, but I know I can help them. What would your message be to them, and how can Black Speakers Network help them?
Yeah, so I think, what's beautiful about, this industry is that there's space for everybody. Not to say that everyone needs to be a speaker, But let me just read you something that, Les Brown wrote on the back of here. He said, there are people waiting to hear your voice. You have an energy signature. And when you speak, there are people in a dark place right now, but when they hear your voice, they will come out into the light. That's Les Brown. So yeah, you're gonna not sound like some other speakers, and that's a good thing. That energy signature that Les is talking to is a dog whistle, so to speak, to the people that are going to connect with you. Now, that doesn't mean that if your natural way of speaking is filled with ahs, like so's, if you have if you you mentioned stuttering, that's a true speech impediment, and so that's something that is beyond toast, but that's something that you could work on intentionally with something like a speech coach or a speech pathologist if you wanted to take it to that level. If you were really working to overcome that, that's fine, and that's a little beyond the scope of Black Speakers Network from the perspective of we don't do speech pathology, but what we do is help speakers tune in and lean in, for lack of a better word, to the authenticity that you bring to the table. Because the reality is that there's only one you. I joke all the time about my East Baltimore accent because every now and then there's going to be some words that are like not I'm not going to sound like every other speaker, and that's okay. Like if you have a Southern accent, lean into the Southern accent. If you have a little bit of a lisp, you have a lisp. Like it's not something that you need to eradicate to fit this mold, because if you are trying to speak to everyone, then you ultimately speak to no one.
Man, I love what you're doing, man. You're just rocking out. We come back. I'm going to have him have his closing comments. He stayed, I don't know if there's a fourth overtime, but he stayed at least in triple overtime, and I appreciate his time. We've never had, I don't think, a show this long, but the guy is, if you were to ask me today, and you were to say, Shay, what's the fastest, easiest way to grow my business? Like, seriously, you say right now, you say, Shay, what's the fastest, easiest way to grow my business? I would say improve your speaking skills. No, seriously. No, seriously. I mean, I know we talk about technology. I get that. But even technology is a voice that's just using automation to push it out. I know we talk about making sure we do something online and we put it in print. Even put it in print is a voice that's being put into print. And so I would say the fastest, easiest way is to improve your speaking skills and your style and be able to communicate, because that's one skill that they can never, ever take away from you. And I would be talking to you today if it wasn't for being at Morgan State University, the alma mater of Brian J. Olds as well. And I was upstairs in Thomas J. Wilcox communication class. I don't remember Dr. Thomas J. Wilcox. I don't know if you remember. I don't know if you ever had his class, but he was a communications guy, and that's where I first did my public speaking, right there in the room. This was many years ago, before he got to Morgan State University, by the way. But anyway, I was there, and I would never have done it, but it gave me the confidence, and that was a starting point. Yes. And so many other things has happened along that way. But that's what I would say. So we come back. I'm going to ask him to have his final thoughts, his final message to you when we come back. And what I want you to do during that time, I want you to look right below the video for those folks that are tuning in, for those folks that are hit the share button, hit the like button, but take a moment to talk about what you do. You can promote your business right below. You can put, thank you, Brian, for sharing. You can put, here's the business I'm in. I just want you to have an opportunity to connect with someone else, because we mentioned something that's very important, and that is the power of collaboration. And I know when some of y'all got started, you said, you know what? I got to collaborate with the right people. Well, you're here, and he's taking time to do that. All right, let's go ahead and do that. For those folks, he'll be back with his final comments. We'll be back in just a moment. Over to Anisha.
My name's Anisha Garrett from Elise & Co., and I am so excited to be here with you in the Happy Entrepreneur Tribe. You know what? Today is my January 1st, and I know it's yours too, because you are excited to get at it and get in it with great enthusiasm. Now, my thought of the week is a system I like to call Triple D. And if you know anything about me, I love a process and I love a system. It makes everything clear and it makes it easy because you got step 1, step 2, step 3, and you can get at it and get in it without compromising any clarity because you know exactly what you're doing. So this week, I'm just going to get into that first step, which is develop. And in the development stage, that's when we're going to get clear on the purpose and the outcomes of whatever the project is. Now, when I say project, I mean everything that you do in your business. You know why I like for it to be a project? Because you can measure it and you can scale it. And that's what we're trying to do. We want to be clear on what's profitable in our business. And if it works, we want to ramp it up and keep doing more of what works. So in the development stage, we're going to define what those metrics look like. What does success look like in the project? What is the purpose of it? Who is it for? What do we need to get out of it for our business? And then in that development stage, the other important thing that I don't want you to miss is I want you to understand what resources you're going to need to get the entire project accomplished. Because there's 2 more steps here. We've got design and deploy coming up. And in the development stage, you've got to be clear on everything you need to get you through those next steps. So we'll talk more about design and deploy, but for right now, I want you to get clear on the purpose of the project, what you need to accomplish it, and how you are going to make sure it is a success and measure that for the marketplace. I can't wait to share more with you guys here in the Happy Entrepreneur Tribe, but until I talk to you again, make it an amazing day, make it an amazing week.
Make it an amazing day, make it an amazing week. Understand your outcomes. Understand your outcomes. Everyone jot this down as I turn this over to Brian. Everyone write this down. Write this down right now. You know, look right below the video. And all the digital note takers, we appreciate you. For all the folks hit the share button, thank you. For everyone hit the heart or hit the like button or made one comment, we appreciate you. Just you showing up, we appreciate you. But here's what I want you to write down. Here's the note that I want you to have right now. And I think it sums up what Anisha, who's out in Las Vegas, had to say. She's a mom with 4 kids, and she's also a wife and is an incredible entrepreneur. But here it is. What gets measured gets managed. That's the Shea Brown remix version. What gets measured gets managed. So I want you to start measuring what you're doing so you can manage the results. So it's not by osmosis, but it comes out because it's there on black and white. It's there on paper. So how do you measure, Shay? How do I manage it? Well, measure. Do you have a message? That's a yes or a no. And that's measuring the message and the effect it's having. No. Okay, you don't have that. Do you have marketing that's allowing you to connect your message to your mission? What gets measured, get measured. But Shay, wait. I don't have that. No, it's okay. You hang in there. Don't worry about monetization. Don't even think about that right now. Don't worry about managing it. Don't worry about that. You step here. Make sure you understand the mission. Make sure you have your... What is that again? You know, your message, and then connect it to the marketing. For those on the other side of the equation, you're like, no, Shay, it's time for me to monetize it. It's time for me to be paid more for what I know than I can do. Then you're at the right place. So with that being said, Brian, I'm going to turn it over to you because I know you gave the 5 M's. I'd like for you to have your final comments. Let me first say thank you. Let me say that we appreciate so much of your time. One of the things about Brian is Brian can always make more money. But he can't make more time. He can always make more money, but he can't get this time back. On his shirt, he has 1,440 minutes. That's all you have every single day, never anymore. If it's less, then it was just your time to get your wings, and that's okay. But the fact that you can hear my voice right now, the fact that you're watching right now tells me that today is your January 1. And I want you to take and connect with Black Speakers Network. Don't keep it to yourself. I want you to share it with someone else and pay that message forward. And let's support Black Speakers Network. All right, Brian, with that being said, man, I'm going to turn it over to you to give your final thoughts to the entrepreneur, to the speaker, to the coach, to the network marketer, to the thought leader that's listening right now, that when these lights go off and there's no more music and no more rah-rah going on, they're with themselves. And you know what? You got yourself a computer and a phone. And you're going to want to hear the message he has to share with you. So with that being said, once again, thank you. I turn over to the one and only, the fabulous man himself, Brian J. Oles, the founder of Black Speakers Network. Over to you, my brother.
Yeah, Shay, I'll be happy to give you my closing thought. And, as I do that, I just want to thank you as well, because this is a phenomenal platform that you created. You mentioned life work, and you didn't have to do this, but you've done it, and you have so many people. And I hope people are really taking notes, not just about what I'm saying, but I hope people are really studying you. And I hope people are studying, the intentional way that you, build digital communities, which is what we're talking about, creating value and delivering it into the world. And this life work, like, it's truly remarkable. And so I appreciate this. And it is a joy to invest this time. We didn't spend any time here. We invested it all. And I know it's going to come back multiplied many times over. And so for that, I thank you. And my final thought is for anybody, in the sound of my voice, whether listening to live or listening to the replay, I just want you to know that, one of my favorite sayings when it comes to the process of speech craft, of writing a speech, is that, the best speeches, they aren't written. The best speeches aren't written, they're rewritten. And ultimately what that means is that as entrepreneurs, as speakers, we're constantly improving our message, but we're also constantly improving ourselves. Every single day, we open the show with the books that we're reading and that we're excited about. That's us rewriting our skill set, our narrative, our story. And so, you have to get out and serve and, not be so seduced by sophistication. Run your own race. Don't worry about who's going on $1 million trips, who's posting stuff on Instagram. Forget all the noise and just focus on you and the audience that you serve, because the best speeches aren't written, they're rewritten. You're going to be constantly going through this process of identifying your secret sauce, how you put that into the world, and how you serve your audience in a unique way that nobody else can do. And once you do that, get a second customer and a third customer and a fourth customer. And before you know it, you'll have your own tribe. And again, it's not about finding speaking engagements, it's putting your unique voice into the world that will attract the speaking engagements. The last 4 speaking engagements that I received weren't targeted at all. It was people reaching out to me because of doing things like this, making sure that I'm visible. And as I'm rewriting my story, people are naturally saying, this is a direction, this is a person that I want to have speak to my group, because, they resonate with, the message that I'm trying to deliver to the audience that I serve. So that's my number one thing, Shay. If I could leave anything, definitely tune in to the thing that makes you unique and just serve. And the best speeches aren't written, they're rewritten. So continue rewriting your story. And as we say at Black Speakers Network, continue to speak up, because your audience awaits.
Thank you once again. Thank you all for watching. You've been listening to Brian J. Oles, the founder of Black Speakers Network. And my name, by the way, is Shay Brown, the host of the Happy Entrepreneur Show, which you've been watching, the #1 business development and revenue-focused late-night show in the country. I want you to know that you are incredible. I want you to know that you're amazing. I want you to know that you've got so much greatness inside you. There's so many seeds waiting to spurt up inside you. You are a freak of nature. You are someone that was born to make a difference in the world, and now you're going to execute that vision that you were called to do. This is indeed your time, and I know with 100% certainty the best is yet to come. The best is yet to come. I'm telling you, the best is yet to come. Make sure you tune in to the Happy Entrepreneur Show. Once again, my name is Shay Brown, the Happy Entrepreneur. Make it a great day, everyone. And I promise you from the bottom of my heart. What's up, Cheryl Pullins? I promise you from the bottom of my heart. What's up, Elaine? I promise you from the bottom of my heart. What's up, Dr. Will Moreland? I promise you all from the bottom of my heart. We'll make some good things happen. We connect again next time. God bless, and I wish you much success. It's been real, Brian. We'll talk to y'all later. Bye-bye.
Please go ahead and give a big standing ovation for the one and the only Shay Brown.
and I'm here right now in this moment with none other than the one and only Dr. Willie Jolly. What's up, my friend?
It's a privilege and a pleasure and a treat and a treasure to be in your presence.
All right, Delator, we're going to get started. You ready, Delator?
I'm ready, friend.
You ready, Dr. Kinnett?
Ready, ready.
None other than Andy Henriquez. And we have someone like a Dr. Sonia who's a bad sister. All right, now, go ahead with your bad self. None other than the Kim Warren Martin. That's the promise I made to my mom. I only did this message for one person, and that's my mom. This is for you, Mom. Love you. My name is Shay Brown, the happy entrepreneur. Make it a great day, everyone. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, Shay Brown.
Mic check, mic check.
All I do is win, no matter what. Got money on my mind, I can never get enough. And every time I step up in the building, everybody hands go up.
Yes. Yeah.
And they stay there, and they stay there.